Just started university, and my beautiful tutor turns out to be the mother of my child. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1376, Reporters Make Trouble. Of course. Even when eating, Sister Joe did not forget to broadcast live. Because he wanted to show the netizens in his live broadcast room what he and Raymond Lam ate. And what surprised him was that there were actually several media reporters who were interviewing outside, and they also came in with this account. Because people outside were not qualified to see Raymond Lam's current situation, after entering the live broadcast room, they could see it more clearly through Sister Joe's perspective. This made them feel a little embarrassed. After all, they were also in the same industry. As a professional media, they were actually not as good as an internet celebrity anchor. How embarrassing it would be to say this out. Some media reporters were okay, they used their own personal accounts instead of the company's accounts, but they could still see it. Many people in the barrage were teasing them, and these media reporters ran in from here to see Raymond Lam's latest developments. Sister Joe first tasted the rice, then smiled and said, "You are really a two-faced guy. If you want to say thank you to me, just say thank you. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Don't think I have any idea about you. I know you have a girlfriend. I was just too excited just now, so I didn't put my hands properly. You can't blame me." Lin Feng shook his head and looked at him speechlessly. "You said I slandered you, and I was right just now. Look at your eyes. If you don't do that, it doesn't matter if others misunderstand you, but what if my wife sees the scene and ignores me?" After hearing this, it was not only Sister Joe who was jealous. Even the other women in the live broadcast room who liked Lin Feng's appearance, temperament and conversation were jealous. No way, there really is such a good man. He always mentions his girlfriend and you can see that he really loves his girlfriend. I think so too, but there are really not many good men. Even ordinary people don't pamper their girlfriends so much, not to mention that he is so rich and so handsome. I really envy his girlfriend. You don't know, the last time our anchor interviewed his girlfriend and him, it happened to be their anniversary, so we all saw that day. His girlfriend is really too beautiful. If I had such a good girlfriend, I would also pamper her like this. Many netizens who missed the anchor Joe G's live broadcast for the first time or last time, after hearing the comments above, were a little curious about who exactly is Raymond Lam's girlfriend. She can actually fascinate Raymond Lam so much, and she can still restrain herself outside. But everyone is curious, anyway. People like Raymond Lam can be said to have a double harvest in career and love. But some people are still worried that all the volunteers' physical examination reports are in progress this afternoon, and in the full-scale live broadcast process. Everyone who went in to watch the live broadcast also understood very clearly what was going on. Even weight and height could be seen clearly. And it was everyone, so everyone was very curious. Could there really be the first one in the whole Dragon country? As long as the company would sell this kind of healthcare product that can prolong life without any side effects? If so, it would be something that ordinary people would really want to get. After all, who wouldn't want to increase their lifespan if they could live? Even in ancient times, it was worth a fortune. People were willing to buy such things by giving away their country and city. Because of Lin Feng's calmness now, everyone thought that Lin Feng had the ability. The drug promoted by his company was well promoted, so everyone was basically willing to believe Lin Feng. Even if the final evidence has not been obtained yet, people are willing to believe everything they feel in front of them. However, they don't know that among the reporters outside, there are people who want to make Lin Feng capsize. A short hour passed. Before Lin Feng and Sister Mu Zhou finished their meal and came out, a news reporter had already contacted someone in his company. Then they found some drugs that could cause the body to react, and when the volunteers came out, they poured these drugs that destroyed the body into their class. So when the people outside brought the food over, a car directly brought the food over. His rhetoric was also very interesting, that is, they were employees of this company. They came specially to pick up the food of the volunteers. After taking the food away, the reporter certainly did not poison all the food. Because if so, wouldn't it tell others that they did it on purpose? So they specially selected a few people, as long as one person had a problem. Then it can be proved that Lin Feng's medicine is problematic. So when it came to the four people's meals, these drugs and their effects, As long as they eat, they will definitely feel unwell. This is a live broadcast. So, after covering the rice was sent in. Because the reporter was wearing takeout clothes, no one found anything wrong. After putting it away, the reporter came out and changed back into his own clothes. In this process, it can be said that no one noticed. After doing all this, he then made a gesture to his companion, and the two of them completed their task. If Lin Feng had only one flaw, it was that he agreed to let some of the volunteers buy food outside by themselves. After all, he felt that his medicine could make their bodies stronger. Of course, they were not afraid of eating unhygienic food. But now, these volunteers were eating the takeaway they ordered. Several people had already finished eating, but after a while, one after another, people began to feel a little uncomfortable. But they didn't say it. In the live broadcast room seen by the reporters on the scene, several volunteers changed their faces and couldn't help sneering. Because the drugs they gave him, although they could cause adverse reactions in his body, would not work immediately. Now he would feel a little uncomfortable at most, and it would take a while before he could be discovered. These people are destined to cause trouble. When Lin Feng and Sister Zhou finished their meal and came out, they couldn't help but ask, Mr. Lin, you invited this anchor lady to dinner just now, but you didn't tell us that you was preparing mineral water. Do you have any relationship with this anchor lady? I just saw on the internet that many netizens know that you have a girlfriend. Chapter 1377 The Cost of Spreading Rumors. After hearing what the reporter said, Lin Feng was unhappy all of a sudden. He stared at the troublemaker and said to him, what does this have to do with you? Even if I really have a relationship with him, it's not your turn as a reporter to ask questions. This is not the entertainment industry. If you want to talk about these gossips, I suggest you go to the entertainment industry. Besides, he and I are not even friends. Just because he spoke for me, I invited him to dinner. What's the problem? Do you think I'm like you? All day long, I just stare at some boring things. These people are at least relatively famous figures in the entire industry. Because there are so many of his colleagues today, this made them feel very embarrassed. When something happened, no one felt good. As a big shot, he actually talked to these reporters like this, aren't you afraid that they will report it randomly? After thinking about this, he had another emotion towards Lin Feng, so he said to Lin Feng, okay, if that's the case, then we'll wait and see, so we'll start the inspection right away. After hearing this, Lin Feng looked at the other party coldly and didn't say anything more. Anyway, it was useless to say it. Time passed like this, and after half an hour, there was suddenly something inside. After a scream, Lin Feng said to the people inside in surprise, what happened to you? Tell me quickly. After hearing this, the assistant said to him at once, it's not good, something happened inside Mr. Lin. After hearing this, Lin Feng's eyes showed a trace of surprise. How could this be possible? How could something go wrong? After he ran in, he found that in the laboratory inside, he suddenly saw several people vomiting and diarrhea, and their faces became very ugly. And the reaction was very intense. After seeing such a scene, Lin Feng was surprised. Because this sudden accident will directly affect the next process. He was a little confused and asked the assistant next to him, what's going on? Why did they become like this after eating? Lin Feng's first reaction was that there was something wrong with the food they ate, but now he was thinking that this shouldn't be the case. It was a problem with his medicine, so he immediately wanted his assistant to take him to the hospital. But at this time, all the reporters rushed in, and someone said to him, this is what you said there would be no problem, so your medicine is still a problem. After hearing this, Lin Feng looked at him. The other party happened to be the one who ridiculed him just now. Lin Feng laughed and said to the other party, how do you know that this medicine must have a problem? Although they are in trouble now, only after they are sent to the hospital can we prove whether it is my medicine or not. But such a good opportunity, even if it has not been confirmed yet. These reporters have begun to post a lot of news about Lin Feng's mistakes on the internet for the so-called gimmick. Those who were watching the live broadcast were still confident in that kind of thing, but when they saw this kind of thing, they immediately became unhappy. Many people began to doubt Lin Feng. Some of them doubted. It can't be like what I thought. I thought Lin Feng's medicine was fine, but it still went wrong. Oh my god, I can't stand it. How could this happen? No way, it just capsized like this. I don't believe it. Wasn't it fine just now? Could it be that there was something wrong with the takeaway? It seems that more than one person has the same idea as Lin Feng, but netizens immediately began to refute. How is this possible? If it was a takeaway, how could several people have problems at the same time? I don't believe they ordered the same takeaway. Yes, I also think that there was something wrong with Lin Feng's medicine, but there are still some people who didn't get into trouble. It can only be said that they were lucky or that they have good physical fitness. While all the netizens were discussing, Lin Feng had already called an ambulance and asked them to take all the poisoned people back to the hospital. After going to the hospital, the reporters also hurried here, because they all thought this was very good information. If the information can be collected, it will definitely cause some damage to Lin Feng's group. What's more, those reporters who had a grudge against Lin Feng just now hoped to confuse everything. But they didn't know that these were just a trap set by several other people. After arriving at the hospital, Lin Feng immediately arranged people to check on the people who had food poisoning and paid the money. However, all the reporters gathered in the lobby of the hospital and interviewed Lin Feng. Is this what you should explain? Don't you think you should explain something? Yes, Mr. Lin, you said before that your medicine will never have any problems. Mr. Lin, if you don't have a good explanation this time, then I guess your company, even if it releases medicine in the future, you will never be able to sell it. Everyone has led the public opinion to a more miserable direction. So, after hearing this, Lin Feng laughed coldly and said to these people, I know you all want to see me in trouble, but don't you think you should wait until the hospital's investigation results come out before you can prove all this? Other reporters said in difficulty, what else is there to prove? Shouldn't it be that your medicine made them like this? You still want to shirk responsibility now? I really didn't expect you, Mr. Lin, to be such a person. After listening to what these people said, Lin Feng shook his head speechlessly. It doesn't matter, just forget it if you don't want to believe it. Anyway, I won't explain anything more. You are spreading rumors now, so you will definitely pay the price in the future. The reporters were also a little shocked to hear that Lin Feng was still quibbling. Probably because they felt that Lin Feng was still unwilling to tell the truth at this time. This obviously made it difficult for them to continue the interview. Chapter 1378 Finding Out the Truth. Meanwhile, on the other side, Zhang Yuxi saw all this on the internet. She didn't care about having dinner with her bestie, and said to her anxiously, I'm going to the company to help Lin Feng now. If I don't face it with him, I'm afraid you will be scared alone. But after her bestie heard it, her big eyes widened and she looked at her in confusion and said, Are you kidding me? How is that possible? You are the one who needs care. How could you forget this? And think about it, can't Lin Feng handle such a small scene? If he can't handle it, how could you be the boss of a company? So, don't underestimate your boyfriend, okay? Even I, your bestie, can see it more clearly than you. But even so, Zhang Yuxi was still a little worried. Because she felt at this time, the incident seemed a bit big. Basically, well-known domestic media have noticed this. Whether online or offline. If this product caused any trouble, Lin Feng would be scolded by everyone. Zhang Yuxi told him her reasons. That's because you don't know how serious this time is. I wasn't worried about Lin Feng at all before, because I believed in him, and I still believe in him now, but I think something must have gone wrong with the volunteers during the drug testing process. Otherwise, several of them wouldn't have shown such symptoms. Even if they didn't wake up, I have to find out the truth. We absolutely cannot let those rumors spread around the internet during this period of time. But the girlfriend still calmly pulled him back and said to him, even if it's too late for you to go now, have you forgotten? Beside Lin Feng, the anchor named Sister Zhou would have helped if she could. And he didn't say anything. What's the point of us going? Even if you are a top student, you don't know anything about Lin Feng's product this time, and if you say that, it will make Lin Feng look even more guilty. After listening to his analysis, Zhang Yuxi also felt that it made some sense, but there was still a hint of unwillingness to admit defeat in her eyes, and she said to her best friend, Are you serious? I won't be able to help if I go now, right? The best friend nodded and said, Of course, why would I lie to you? You, just stay here if you are really scared. Then call him later and let him tell you what happened on the phone. It's better than running over and doing nothing. He also knew that the words his best friend said were all for his own good. But his heart was always restless. After seeing Lin Feng on the screen with a very relaxed look on his face, Zhang Yuxi was slightly relieved. He knew that Lin Feng always had such a confident expression. That meant that what he did would not fail. Sure enough. Half an hour passed quickly. The doctors and nurses in the hospital came out, telling Lin Feng about the situation of those patients. One of them said to Lin Feng, "It's like this, after we examined them just now, we found that their poisoning was not very obvious, so it only made them vomit and have diarrhea. As for other reasons, we are still investigating." If he said that, the reporters asked more questions. Some reporters came up to the doctor and said loudly, "Doctor, please tell us, are those patients in their current condition because they took a certain drug?" After hearing this, the doctor touched his chin, nodded and said, "Indeed, we found a certain dose of drugs in the patient's stomach, but we can only know what it is after testing. This time, Lin Feng really can't wash himself clean even if he jumps into the Yellow River. At least that's what all the media present think. Who made the people in the hospital admit Lin Feng's behavior? But just when this group of media people wanted to mess up the action again, the hospital people said to them, "But we found that these patients sent to the hospital have taken several kinds of drugs, so we have to check it out before we can give you a specific reply." After hearing this, Sister Zhou, who was next to Lin Feng, said sarcastically to the reporters who had no good intentions towards Lin Feng, "Did you hear that clearly? The doctor said that we still need to check thoroughly before we can speak. What about you? Do you think you are more powerful than the doctor?" Although this group of reporters is very unreliable, there are still some people who have already had a very deep understanding of Lin Feng and trust in his medicine. So they all helped Sister Zhou to speak. "That's right, since we have chosen to follow up on Lin Feng's medicine, then we should choose to always believe him, or show evidence to deny him, instead of going back and forth between trust and distrust. In this case, as media workers, we really haven't done our best. It seems that justice is in the hearts of the people, and there are still some people who are willing to believe Lin Feng. However, various disputes on the internet have begun to erupt. Most of them are people who say bad things about Lin Feng. Basically, few people are willing to believe him. But Lin Feng doesn't care about this. Anyway, after the results are out, he can slap these people in the face, which is not bad." At this time, Lin Feng suddenly found a very bad image. He saw two reporters exchanging glances. It seemed that they were saying some secret code, and then he saw one of the reporters trying to sneak into the hospital. Although many reporters blocked the entrance of this hospital. However, there must be more than one door to enter the hospital lobby, so they can enter from other places. But when they thought they were going to make trouble, Lin Feng saw the clue and winked at his assistant next to him, asking him to intercept the other party. He believed that this must have a very good harvest. Horizontal ellipsis. Chapter 1379, Creating Topics. Under Lin Feng's order, the secretary walked directly towards the two reporters who were talking. One of the reporters was about to go around the back door of the hospital, but was stopped by the secretary and his men. Seeing the person who suddenly appeared, the other party said to him speechlessly, "What's the matter?" Perhaps because they felt guilty, the two people did not dare to yell in front of the secretary, but this made Lin Feng's people directly say to them, "Why else? You are sneaking around here, shouldn't you explain why?" Hearing this, the two people hurriedly pretended to be very innocent and said to him, "What nonsense are you talking about? What's wrong with us being here? This hospital is not your company. Can anyone be allowed to come in who can't come?" When saying this, the secretary and the two people did not say much. Just said to him, "Enough, since you don't want to say anything more, then come with us. After you leave, you will know why we stopped you." After hearing this, the two looked at each other and immediately decided to run. But Lin Feng's secretary was one step faster. He stopped them directly and said to them, "Want to run? Do you think you can run away?" After hearing this, the two secretaries really wanted to leave by force. Suddenly, there were several more people behind the assistant, and after they came up, they stopped the journalists directly. They said, "Let's go first, our boss wants you." After saying this, several people surrounded the two journalists. The two people were originally guilty. But at this moment, they couldn't beat the people on the opposite side, so they kept retreating and wanted to escape. In the end, they were still caught. But after taking them back, they didn't bring them directly to Lin Feng, because they all knew that Lin Feng was being interviewed now. If these two people went over, it would disturb Lin Feng instead. And Lin Feng's interview, without these two people, was indeed a little less troublesome. But it does not mean that all the troubles are over, and some media continue to target Lin Feng. However, they were still stopped. After an hour. Finally, The hospital intercepted all the examination reports of the injured people. After seeing the examination report, Lin Feng sneered. It was just as he guessed. So, he said to all the reporters who targeted him and trusted him, "You all take a look, this is the examination report result given by the hospital. You can believe now that there is no problem with our medicine." After hearing this, all the media began to take pictures of them and then brought all the evidence. This was definitely the biggest blow to the two people who wanted to make trouble before. But now things are one-sided, and everyone can no longer continue to slander Lin Feng's company for having problems with the medicine. At this time, Sister Zhou stood up again and said to all those who had just slandered Lin Feng, "You should apologize to Mr. Lin now. You just said so righteously that you all thought that there was something wrong with the drugs in his company. But now that the test results are out, you won't deny it, right?" Because Sister Zhou's eyes were so sharp, those who saw her eyes couldn't help but tremble. Some people even thought that he dared to be so tough at work. That means that he and Lin Feng must have a good relationship. Maybe Lin Feng deliberately found these people just to make them all apologize. So one by one, they didn't dare to disobey. Otherwise, what if Lin Feng was secretly messing with them behind their backs? If they had evidence, they wouldn't have to be so afraid, but there was nothing wrong with Lin Feng's drugs, so they were in the wrong first, and one by one, they didn't dare to say anything more, and those who apologized to Lin Feng quickly apologized. Those who started advertising for Lin Feng advertised, so people on the internet began to lean towards one side again. Especially after they saw Sister Zhou defending Lin Feng so hard. Some people even started gossiping, "I think the relationship between Zhou Ji and Lin Feng is really too good. If I didn't know, I would have thought she was the other's girlfriend." I think so too. To be honest, he and Lin Feng have been talking so much from just now until now. I think they must have other relationships in private. Anyway, there are many rumors on the internet. Everyone doesn't know for a while whether Lin Feng and Zhou Ji have a better relationship. But they just want to use this as a selling point for news. Of course. Many people also bring up Zhang Yuxi. After all, Zhang Yuxi is Lin Feng's girlfriend. Until now. Even if everyone cares, they should care more about Zhang Yuxi. However, after hearing such rumors, Zhang Yuxi and her bestie became a little upset. Zhang Yuxi said to the person next to her, "These people are really too idle. They actually said so many unpleasant things about so many people." Of course, he was 10,000 times confident about Lin Feng's loyalty to him, so he would never believe that Lin Feng would betray him. On the contrary, it was those people on the internet. One by one, they kept speculating about the relationship between the two of them. They just wanted to create some topics. Zhang Yuxi herself would not be fooled, but her best friend next to her was very anxious. Lin Feng was also anxious. When Lin Feng heard that there were reporters outside, mentioning the relationship between Sister Zhou and himself, he was in a bad mood. He told these reporters directly, and then said, "You all shut up, there is no need to say so many useless words here. What do you say have to do with the topic of your interview this time? Shouldn't it be over as long as we find out that our company's drugs have no problems with the health of these volunteers? What else do you want to talk about?" It can be seen that Lin Feng was really angry. The others also became a little scared and dared not say anything. Because it can be seen that Lin Feng is very taboo to talk about such topics. Generally speaking, Lin Feng is such a gentle businessman, and everyone does not take his temper seriously. But now it seems that this is not the case. After seeing that there are too many things, the two media people who were arrested by the people brought by Lin Feng's secretary looked at each other. Then they decided to run away together. If they didn't run away, wouldn't it make the matter worse? If it got out of hand, they would be held legally responsible. No one wanted to do that. So the two of them exchanged glances, hoping that they could help each other find the way and run faster. One of them made a move as if he wanted to run away, and the secretary and a few other people tried to stop him, but the remaining reporter just ran away, completely ignoring his companions. Chapter 1382 Useless Idiots. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng's secretary showed a strange smile. When the reporter ran to the door, he was stopped by several uniformed security guards. The security guards said to him, "Since you are here, go back to see our general manager Lin. What's the point of running away? Isn't the interview over yet?" After looking at the people who were stopped, the assistant and the people next to him slowly came over. The two of them were not in a hurry. Because they all knew that these reporters from the news media had fallen into their hands. How to deal with them was up to their own people. At this time, the assistant put his hand on the back of this person and said to him, "Do you still want to run now? No matter where you run, you will be caught back." Several people looked at each other and understood that they probably couldn't escape now. Even if they continued to run down, they would definitely be caught by the other party, so they simply gave up struggling. But the only thing they hoped for now was that the hospital could find out that this volunteer with physical problems was related to Lin Feng's medicine. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. As they returned to Lin Feng's company, Lin Feng just happened to tell all the media reporters present about the hospital examination reports in his hand. After hearing this, a large group of people were shocked and apologized one after another. And the media reporters who were coming over and had begun to frame Lin Feng also gritted their teeth and were very angry. Because Lin Feng really didn't escape this trick. It seems that their plan has completely failed. Lin Feng's eyes were very sharp. After seeing these two people, he just gave his assistant a look, probably asking him to take these people away. The assistant led the men down and said to the two of them, "Don't think that we stopped you. There is no evidence to prove that you did it, so you can rest assured. Because we will soon ask the hospital to transfer the surveillance to us, and then we will send it directly to the Supervision Bureau. As for what crime you will be convicted of, it's up to you." After saying this, the two reporters finally felt scared, and then began to beg the assistant to let them go. "Brother, we were wrong, please let us go. We promise that we will never provoke your family again." However, when the assistant heard it, he thought it was very ridiculous, and said to them, "What do you mean by this? Do you think it doesn't matter if you apologize and admit your mistakes now? You think our people are too naive? It's ridiculous." After saying this, several of them didn't know how Lin Feng would deal with them. Because now they are completely under control. If there is no order from Lin Feng, these people should not let him go. After hearing this, the two reporters were very unhappy and questioned the assistant, "What do you mean by this? We have already apologized for what we should apologize for. If you still don't want to let me go, aren't you afraid of violating the law?" Ha ha ha, it really makes me laugh to death. You actually have the nerve to talk to me about the law. Do you know what mistake you just made? If you have this idea, you might as well think about how to get out of this. After hearing this, the two reporters were very helpless. Because what the other party said was not wrong. If they can't find a suitable reason, it will be difficult to get the other party to let him go. If they don't let him go, even if they ask for help from the lawyer, they should involve other things. After taking a deep breath, the two people said to the assistant and the people around him, "Then tell me what you want. If we can satisfy you, we can give you a certain amount of compensation. The money is easy to talk about. After all, this matter was caused by them, so they are willing to pay compensation." However, Lin Feng's assistant looked at them as if they were idiots, and said, "Are you fools? Is it necessary to ask you to pay compensation? Don't forget that our group doesn't lack this little money at all. Instead of talking about compensation, it's better to talk about how to give our President Lin an explanation. If you leave without a clear explanation, I believe that President Lin will definitely not forgive us. What's the benefit of letting you go back? For us, there is no benefit at all, so you must help us report a few news for free, so that we can let you go." After the assistant negotiated the conditions, the two media reporters also realized it. So that's the case. Since they want these two people to report good media news, they just keep it up. Anyway, they want to fool them when the time comes. Lin Feng has no evidence to prove that they are voluntary, unless there is a recording now. But even if there is a recording, it does not involve illegal things. So, the two reporters agreed very happily, "Okay, we promise you that we can definitely help you. Our company will do 2 very good news reports, saying that your company's medicine is simply a miracle drug, and we call on everyone to buy your company's medicine. How about it? This news, will you be satisfied?" Lin Feng's assistant already understood what the other party meant, so he nodded. Resisting the urge to laugh, he said to them, "Okay, in that case, then I will let you go. Remember to write a good report after you go back." Hearing this, several people were a little bit unbelievable. Is this the end? It's really incredible that they trust them so much. But the other party kindly let them go. How could they not run? One by one, they immediately said to the assistant sternly, "Okay, then we will leave first, buddy, contact later." After watching the two guys leave, the assistant shook his head, And while the corners of his mouth rose, he couldn't help but say in his mouth, "What a useless idiot." After saying this, he also left. Of course. He was going to tell Lin Feng about this matter when he returned. He had already acted according to Lin Feng's instructions. The reason why Lin Feng and his team chose to let this guy go was because they had already calculated it. After their company was involved with these media companies this time, it would be much easier to control them. So Lin Feng used this trick very well. It's just that the reporters from these two news media haven't reacted yet. If they had a little bit of brains, they would understand what Lin Feng meant after returning. Naturally, they dared not disobey Lin Feng. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1381. A good show. After going out, the whole company has already increased its publicity efforts for Lin Feng. Lin Feng was speaking to everyone in the center. Although several of them have been diagnosed with food poisoning, I will have someone check the takeaways they ordered. Also, don't you want to see if this drug promoted by our company can really prolong life? Now I will tell you that it has this effect, and a greater effect, which is that it can make the diseases in their bodies get better faster than ordinary people. If you don't believe it, you can watch the live broadcast. After saying this, everyone's interest was once again aroused by Lin Feng's words. Originally, it was thought that after Lin Feng had this incident, he should have increased his publicity efforts. He would not care about the other two volunteers. But what was unexpected was that Lin Feng actually said such incredible words. This is simply incredible. Some people rushed into the hospital with their own ideas. Because they didn't believe that what Lin Feng said was right. How could this be possible? It was really too far-fetched. So when they rushed in, they found that they were really slapped in the face. The volunteers who were originally lying on the bed and wailing constantly, stood under the bed in full vigor. And told the nurses who were checking them that they no longer needed infusions or medicines, because they could feel that their bodies were very good now. After hearing this, the doctors and nurses thought they were crazy. At this time, the reporters from the news media ran in and began to ask the doctor about what had just happened. The doctor also said truthfully, "These people are really strange. I have never seen such a strange phenomenon. When they just entered the hospital, they all vomited and had diarrhea. But in just 1 hour, we haven't found out the cause of their illness. It was just that after controlling their medicine, they recovered immediately. And this recovery speed is really too fast. I just did a simple check and can't be sure what kind of energy in their bodies helped them recover so quickly. It's really unbelievable." Even the reporters couldn't help but be shocked after hearing what the doctor said. No way. I didn't expect that Lin Feng's medicine actually had the magical effect he said. In a short period of time, it can make people completely recover. If the top rich people buy it, can they use this medicine to increase their lifespan? This time, this video in the entire live broadcast room has gone viral on the internet. Some people were surprised after seeing this. This can't be true. I think this could be the hospital and Lin Feng teaming up to stage a good show. But I don't think this is possible, didn't you see? These people were really in pain when they were sick just now, and now they don't seem to be pretending. Who knows? You can't know a person's heart by knowing his face. If Lin Feng really bribed these volunteers to be his pawns, it is very likely that this is what we saw. Let's wait and see, lest it be reversed like just now, and the doctor has already proved that these people are unlucky and have nothing to do with Lin Feng's medicine. I believe that someone must have deliberately made trouble. Didn't you see that all kinds of accidents happened today? But the only unlucky person is Lin Feng. There are too many voices on the internet. So this also affected the interviews of some people in reality. Everyone wants to continue to expand this sensitive topic. After hearing this, Lin Feng shook his head and said, "This has nothing to do with conspiracy theories. If you really want to know, I can only tell you that this is what I want to show you. I believe you are all familiar with this drug. If you experience this ordinary situation, in fact, it can improve the immune system in our body, and the bacteria will be killed by our antibodies in time. This is why I would say that our product is unique in the world." I have to say that Lin Feng did a great job this time. This time may be a huge blow to other companies. Because when a product is just facing a press conference, such a big situation has already occurred. But for Lin Feng, It is a very powerful publicity. These volunteers did not need to go through such a complicated process to promote their company. But after someone did something, it was able to highlight the effectiveness of his batch of drugs. What's more, the medicinal properties of these selected people are relatively strong, so they can recover so quickly. If it were an ordinary person, they should still be lying in bed now. This is a common sense situation that medical staff know. So they will definitely explain it to the media. As for what the media would write after hearing about it, they didn't pay much attention to it. Anyway, they would write good things about Lin Feng. At this time, the two media reporters who had just escaped returned to their homes. If they dared to write any report about the bad drugs of Lin Feng's company, they would definitely be flooded by many netizens and the public, so they should not write nonsense again. This is also a reward for Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't care about them. It's just that after seeing the same news, many people reacted differently. As a friend of Lin Feng, they were naturally very happy. But as an enemy of Lin Feng, for example, someone who is now escaping from the magic city, he was very angry after seeing it. Of course, Lu Qingqing didn't see such a good show. Because when he rode a motorcycle to find Zhang Yuxi, he saw that the other party was angry and kept hitting the car with his fists. Very angry, very decadent. He felt a little curious, walked up, and couldn't help asking, "What happened? Now I'm here too. I can continue to tell you how to leave and go abroad." Just on this road, they had already called several people. In addition to his identity as the eldest daughter of the Lu family, he actually knew many people in other aspects. He wanted to leave this place smoothly. There was no other way except smuggling, so he planned to tell his only partner, Zhang Yuxi in front of him, about this good method. But as soon as he came, he saw that the other party was losing his temper here. He thought it was Zhang Yuxi who was making trouble here because he couldn't leave the country by various methods. But when he finished speaking, the other party stared at him fiercely. Why did he treat others like this when he got into trouble himself? He wanted to tell the other party with a happy face that he had a good idea. But seeing that the other party looked so fierce and stared at him, he suddenly hit the other party's hand with his fist, and then said, "Don't lose your temper in front of me. Do you think you are still Mr. Zhang, who is second to none and above 10,000 people?" Chapter 1382 Small Black Camera. You're a very pitiful dog now. You need my pity to leave the magic city. So, in front of me, you'd better know your identity clearly. Don't make me angry, otherwise, you will be in trouble. Before, he was willing to listen to the other party because he helped him deal with Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi. But now everything has changed. He has to listen to the other party's orders, and he doesn't need to look at the other party's face to act. He can even make his own decisions, so what qualifications does the other party have to dare to blame him and say such words to him in front of him? He thought he was a big boss in the past. Seeing Lu Qingqing's arrogant attitude, Zhang Yuxi didn't react for a while. When he reacted, he understood why the other party dared to treat him like this. It was really as he said. If he dared to be rude, then Lu Qingqing would probably not continue to help him next time. He breathed a sigh of relief. Just treat Lu Qingqing as he treated other women before. Then he said, "Okay, it's all my fault just now. I apologize to you, okay? Please forgive me." Lu Qingqing just glanced at him slightly. Before at that banquet, he was able to resist the temptation of the other party and did not choose to believe the other party. It was exactly the same. Don't think that he will no longer believe it after saying a few nice words. This kind of low-level method can only be used to deal with other women. For him, it is useless. However, thinking that the two of them may still cooperate in the future, he didn't want to do things too extreme. So, Lu Qingqing kindly waved his hand and said, "Okay, since you have apologized, then I am not such a stingy person. Okay, since you apologized so sincerely, I will forgive your behavior this time. But I still have to say ugly words in advance. If you dare to be so arrogant to me next time, don't blame me for not giving you a chance to go out." Originally, he wanted to tell the other party how to smuggle out directly. But now think about it, even if the other party really wants to go abroad, it is necessary to hit the other party's self-esteem. Otherwise, this guy will escape. Who knows if he will not contact me when he's abroad, then wouldn't he have worked in vain? He is not the kind of person who does good things. After hearing this, Zhang Yuxi was of course a little unhappy. He looked at him and said, "What do you mean? Didn't you say there is a way for me to leave the magic city and go abroad? Why, now you say there is a future, Don't you plan to send me out? Could it be that I just said something wrong? Let this young lady completely don't want him to go abroad. If this is the case, then he is too much of a loss. And in his memory, Lu Qingqing is not such a speechless little temper. When he began to doubt, Lu Qingqing chuckled twice, and then said, don't you see how strict it is now? If I send you away, I have to wait for the best time. Although I didn't see Lin Feng's press conference, I believe tomorrow should be his busy time. Because when I went out today, I heard the conversation between my grandfather and his assistant. It is said that they want to support a batch of drugs that Lin Feng launched this time, so there will be a lot of orders in their company from today to tomorrow. At that time, it should be Lin Feng who will deal with them step by step, so it will be more troublesome. You still can't leave today. After saying this, what Lu Qingqing said did not seem to make sense. But it sounded a little strange. Zhang Yuxi seemed to be still hesitating. He felt that what the other party said made some sense, but at the same time, it also made him feel a little unhappy. The other party clearly said before coming that he would take him away from the Magic City. But after coming here, he suddenly changed his mind. He wanted to know whether this was because something else had happened before he came, or because of what he said just now. The other party made another new decision. When he wanted to ask, Lu Qingqing said to him, wait, look at what I have on me. After he finished speaking, he pointed to a small black camera next to the button of his clothes. After seeing this scene, Zhang Yuxi's eyes suddenly became very frightened, and then he said to him, you idiot, you have been used by your family. I'm afraid they now know where the two of us are. After saying this, Lu Qingqing was so anxious that she was about to cry. He had screamed when he found this thing just now, but he didn't dare to admit that this was what he thought. But Zhang Yuxi's words made him feel that his guess was not wrong. In other words, the small camera on his body now is the surveillance of his family. It's really despicable. No wonder he was able to go out so smoothly today. It turned out to be because of the surveillance camera on his body. His grandfather must have known about his conversation with Zhang Yuxi now. Holding the monitor in his hand, Lu Qingqing's eyes widened. She said to Zhang Yuxi next to her, almost screaming and roaring, how could my grandpa do this to me? Didn't he believe me? Didn't he let me return to the Lu family? Why? Why do you still doubt me like this? It can be seen that he is still very concerned about this matter. He thought that his relatives were willing to accept him and forgive him many times. But unexpectedly, in the end, it was just a test. His tears flowed down uncontrollably. However, this scene made Mr. Lu on the other side of the video feel very strange. He leaned on his crutches and said to the assistant next to him, do you think my granddaughter has a problem with her brain? It is obvious that he betrayed the Lu family, but now he actually wants to turn around and accuse me of wrongdoing. If I hadn't placed a bug on him in time, I'm afraid we still don't know what kind of harmony that person has with the other party. They heard it clearly just now. If nothing unexpected happens, then it should be because the two of them did not communicate very happily. That is why his granddaughter Lu Qingqing temporarily suppressed the thought in her heart. She could have easily told the other party how to leave the Magic City. This was not difficult for Lu Qingqing. Chapter 1383. I've changed my mind now. Seeing the old man of the Lu family so angry, the housekeeper next to him said, old man, don't be angry. Anyway, no matter how much you say, it's useless. Your experiment this time can also show that the eldest lady will not listen to our advice anyway. If you keep talking like this, I'm afraid the distance between you and him will be farther and farther. In this case, it's better not to say anything, just stop him before he does something stupid every time. It must be said that the words of this assistant really touched the old man's heart. Of course, he himself thought so. After all, she is his own granddaughter. Is it really necessary to beat him directly to Lin Feng? Kneel down and admit the mistake again. It's okay to think so, but the ending is definitely not good. Lin Feng has actually forgiven him once. Then there will definitely not be a second time, a third time, and so many times. So he knew clearly that he couldn't let his granddaughter apologize to Lin Feng again, nor could he let Lin Feng find out again. No matter which of them told the truth, it would definitely affect the entire Lu family. On the other side, after being discovered by his grandfather, Lu Qingqing was a little flustered after the conversation between him and Zhang Yuxi. He hurriedly took off the listening device on his body and threw it into the river. He took a panicked breath and said to Zhang Yuxi, what should I do now? My grandfather estimates that the people he sent should also be on the way. If we leave now, it's still in time. He didn't know. In fact, there was more than one listening device on him. Although the listening device on his clothes had been thrown to the ground. But there was another listening device on his hair. So, the two of them didn't know that what they said now could still be heard by the old man of the Lu family. Zhang Yuxi thought for a while, and then said to him, although you have thrown away the listening device just now, I think it's not safe here. You follow me, I have another house nearby. It must be said that he bought enough houses in the Magic City. Basically, there will be 1 or 2 houses in each area, and the distance between them is almost the same, so run to any place. If he wanted to hide, he really couldn't be found in a short time. Lu Qingqing nodded. She did think that this man was quite righteous. So she said, okay, I'll go with you. After saying this, they both got on the motorcycle. However, Zhang Yuxi didn't know how to drive this car, so in the end, Lu Qingqing was the only one driving. He turned the motorcycle, then turned around on the spot and flew out again. After they drove for more than half an hour, they arrived at a villa. After stopping the car, Lu Qingqing and Zhang Yuxi took off their helmets and walked into the villa. They found that there were actually people cleaning the villa. Lu Qingqing couldn't help but give a thumbs up and said to the other party, not bad, there are actually people cleaning this place for you. Seeing this servant cleaning for himself, Zhang Yuxi just waved at him and asked him to leave first. After all, Lu Qingqing didn't need this person after he came. If he was still there, it would bring him some trouble. For example, he would be followed. After the two walked in, they took out a bottle of red wine from the kitchen. After opening it, they poured a glass into the cup and drank it. While drinking, he said, this tastes pretty good. For some reason, Lu Qingqing felt that when she was with Zhang Yuxi, although she couldn't say that she was very happy, she was much more comfortable than at home. Maybe they both had a common enemy, that person was Lin Feng. After the two sighed, Lu Qingqing said to Zhang Yuxi, actually, I had an idea before. I wanted you to secretly leave the Magic City and go abroad. But your attitude makes me feel very unhappy. Once this lady is unhappy, nothing will work, you know. Thanks to Lu Qingqing, who drank too much, she revealed her true feelings. Otherwise, I'm afraid the other party doesn't know what he was thinking in his heart just now. It was because of this that Zhang Yuxi couldn't help but squint his eyes. It turned out that his previous guess was really correct. This guy obviously has a way to get himself out of the country, but he is unwilling to say it because he is petty. But since the other party has already said it on his own initiative, it should not be difficult for him to coerce and bribe the other party to tell him the method. So, he poured another sip of wine for the other party, and then said, drink, let's drink more. You looked unhappy just now, but you should be fine now. Maybe it was because of his drinking that Lu Qingqing gradually drank too much? After drinking too much, she did start talking nonsense. At this time, he wanted to ask if there was any way to help him leave the Magic City. Otherwise, wouldn't this drink be in vain? Zhang Yuxi's eyes kept turning. Because he was thinking about how to get the other party to say something. Otherwise, continuing to drink like this would only waste his time. Leaving this Magic City is the most important thing. Fortunately, the other party, Lu Qingqing, is basically drunk now. So, he pushed her and said, tell me quickly how to leave the Magic City. After I leave, I will continue to contact you, and you don't have to worry about me abandoning you. Lu Qingqing raised her head, glanced at him, and then pouted and said, who cares about you, even if you don't contact me? If I didn't want to use you to deal with Lin Feng, I wouldn't have so much contact with you. Zhang Yuxi's expression was completely unbearable. Originally thought that the other party was the easiest to talk to at this time, but she still spoke without considering other people's feelings, so he felt a little uncomfortable. Is he so unattractive? Lu Qingqing can like Lin Feng, why can't she like himself? So he grabbed Lu Qingqing's head and said to him, I have changed my mind now. I not only want me to go abroad, but also take you with me. Anyway, you don't have any ability in China. If you want to take revenge on Lin Feng, then just follow me to develop abroad. Anyway, when the time comes, we will come back together. Chapter 1384, Probing the Question. But even though Lu Qingqing was drunk, she could still feel what the other party was saying. So she shook her head and said, I don't want to go with you. You are so ugly and not as good looking as Lin Feng. Why should I go with you? After saying this, the other party got a little angry, and then said almost incoherently, of course, I am not as good looking as him, so what? But I tell you, no matter what, I must take you away today. Anyway, if you are found by your family, you will be locked up or given other punishments. You might as well leave with me. Is that wrong on you?" In fact, Zhang Yuxi felt that what he said was true. If Lu Qingqing continued to stay in their Lu family, maybe during this period of time, he would probably still be scolded by his grandfather. Anyway, he didn't want to stay in the Lu family, and it was a good thing to leave with him. But Lu Qingqing shook her head and said, "I don't want to leave with you. Don't be delusional. Even if I can't wait for the opportunity to take revenge on Lin Feng now, I must find a chance to meet him again. And you, what are you? You are just a stray dog." It must be said that Lu Qingqing's words after getting drunk were really hurtful. But the other party obviously didn't want to pay attention to him anymore. However, Zhang Yuxi reacted quickly. Didn't he just want to ask the other party when he could tell him how to leave the magic city? Instead, he was led by him. So he said very unhappily, "Anyway, you don't have to leave with me, but you must tell me how to leave the magic city. I don't have time to continue to make trouble with you, do you hear me?" He grabbed Xi Fang's shoulders and shook them. But after hearing this, Lu Qingqing just said to him speechlessly, "Even if you shake me so hard that I see stars, I won't tell you. Anyway, don't expect me to tell you now. No one can force me to say what I don't want to say." After hearing what he said, Zhang Yuxi gritted his teeth. He said angrily, "Okay, since you don't say it, then I won't let you go. What I said just now is still valid. I said I would take you away, so we must leave together." After hearing this, Lu Qingqing rolled his eyes helplessly. The other party insisted on taking him away. He was a little drunk at this moment, and he was also talking nonsense. "Then don't blame my grandfather, I will send someone to catch you back. If you want to leave, it's not impossible. Say something nice to me, I can agree to it, but if you threaten me like you just now, that's not necessarily the case." Hearing him say this, Zhang Yuxi also knew that even if the other party was drunk, he would still refuse to be honest. He could only say helplessly, Okay, it's my fault that I didn't say it well just now. I shouldn't lose my temper with you like that. Then tell me quickly, how can I leave the magic city? Otherwise, if I stay here, sooner or later I will be discovered by Lin Feng and your Lu family. Your Lu family is now in a more difficult situation because we share the same hatred and enemies." Just when Lu Qingqing hadn't finished telling how to leave the magic city, the monitor on his body had transmitted the conversation between the two of them to the other side, that is, the headphones of the Lu family's housekeeper. After hearing this, Mr. Lu and the housekeeper were a little worried, afraid that the other party would really tell Zhang Yuxi how to escape. So, Mr. Lu said to his men, "You hurry up and find the eldest lady back. No matter what, he is a member of our Lu family. If he makes a mistake, it should be handled by our Lu family. Instead of leaving him with such a useless guy, if he really leaves, there will be no room for easing at that time." Everyone knows what the old man means. If Lin Feng finds out and they both run away at the same time, then Lin Feng will definitely think that Lu Qingqing is Zhang Yuxi's accomplice. In the final analysis, Mr. Lu, as a grandfather, has paid enough to let his granddaughter escape so many disasters. If it were someone else, it might not be possible to do so well. However, their eldest lady still doesn't appreciate it, which makes them feel helpless. After hearing this, several people under his command decided in time to bring Zhang Yuxi and Lu Qingqing back. No matter when. Have Zhang Yuxi and Lu Qingqing really decided to leave? Anyway, they can't get away. After hearing this, the housekeeper said to Mr. Lu first, "Grandpa, I will continue to send people to follow them. The people who followed them just now seem to have lost them. Because Zhang Yuxi is still near his home, he sent many people to guard them. If someone gets close, they will find someone to stop them together, so now our people can't really see them even if they go there." To put it bluntly, the last few people who protected Zhang Yuxi stayed in this place, just to help him leave smoothly. The old man nodded and said, "Okay, I'll listen to you. Hurry up and bring the eldest lady back to me. This girl is so lawless that she doesn't even know her last name. As a member of our Lu family, he still dares to dream that he has the strength to go against Lin Feng. He shouldn't have made such a big mistake now. As a grandfather, I have to help him no matter what." In the final analysis, if Lu Qingqing didn't have a very reliable grandfather who loved her, maybe she would have been quietly dealt with by Lin Feng now. So it can be seen how important it is to bring people back. At this time, The assistant next to him was reminding Mr. Lu of something. He said to Mr. Lu, "Mr. Lu, we have one more thing to do, that is the cooperation between us and Lin Feng. I have watched today's press conference. Although you didn't pay attention, I saw it clearly and knew that his drug this time has great value. If we cooperate with him, we will definitely make money from it." After hearing what he said, the old man was also very happy. So, he said to him, "Very good, since you think we are suitable to invest in this project, butler. Then go ahead, but before that, you have to send someone to inquire about Lin Feng's opinion and see if he has almost forgotten the unpleasant things that happened to us before." Chapter 1385, Be the First. After hearing this, the housekeeper nodded. He understood very well how difficult it was for the old man of the Lu family to choose a person in charge of the family so that he could please the customer. On one side was his most beloved granddaughter, and he had to take good care of her in every aspect. The housekeeper said to Mr. Lu, "Old man, don't worry, we will definitely not continue to make enemies with Lin Feng this time." After hearing this, Mr. Lu was able to trust his housekeeper. Because apart from this matter, he had no other choice. He knew that his left and right arms would help him deal with this matter. And he just needed to wait until his granddaughter came back. After thinking of this, he finally smiled and cared a lot about cooperating with Lin Feng. Because he had watched a little bit of Lin Feng's live broadcast just now. Then he said to the assistant, "In order to express our advice to Lin Feng, I will let you invest first. Isn't there anyone buying his medicine now? Then we will be the first person." After hearing this, the housekeeper had to admire the old man's foresight. Because now for their Lu family, the relationship with Lin Feng is indeed very tense. If they start now and support Lin Feng's batch of drugs, it will be equivalent to being able to gain Lin Feng's respect and trust while continuing to cooperate with him. In addition, the matter of the eldest lady can be put aside by Lin Feng. The housekeeper nodded heavily and said to the secretary, "Let's do this first, and don't let the old man worry about it anymore. After all, the old man is now old. If he has to worry about everything about the company after worrying about his granddaughter, it is really not good." The secretary nodded and followed them out. At this time, the old man called Lin Feng. He wanted to find out. He didn't know whether Lin Feng knew about his granddaughter's attempt to escape with Zhang Yuxi. If so, then this matter would be considered a serious crime. So when he called, Lin Feng had just left the press conference for about an hour. After receiving the call, Lin Feng said in surprise, "Mr. Lu, what's the matter with you calling me?" Mr. Lu laughed happily, and then said, "Nothing important. Mr. Lin, I want to cooperate with you on this batch of medicines from your company. If possible, can we be the one who purchases the goods?" After hearing this, Lin Feng smiled. He also knew what Mr. Lu was thinking. On the one hand, it must be because of the courage he showed during the live broadcast today, so he wanted to cooperate with him. On the other hand, it must be because of his granddaughter's affairs. It must be said that Mr. Lu really covered up for his granddaughter many times. Let alone cooperation in this matter, even if it was some other cooperation that didn't make much money, Mr. Lu would probably accept it. It was just to give him face. But Lin Feng was not the kind of person who bullied others. So, he said to the old man, "Would you like to reconsider it? If you really want to cooperate with us, then I won't object, but I hope you won't regret it." Mr. Lu said very confidently, "Mr. Lin, I think we have always been good partners. Even though we have some unresolved personal matters before, we can still be considered partners in business. I wonder if we can have this opportunity to bid for a batch of drugs from your company. After all, the Lu family actually has its own group companies, which are running hospitals and other medical companies. It's just right to take Lin Feng's batch of drugs back and test them to see if they can decompose the ingredients inside. If they can make such a product themselves. Any company has had the idea of doing this, but there are not many people who dare to call Lin Feng first, so you can see the courage of the Lu family." Of course, Lin Feng nodded. As long as there is an order, then the next step will be easy. So, he nodded and said, "Okay, then I will have someone from my company come to your company tomorrow to talk to you in detail." Mr. Lu watched as the order was placed. He nodded and said, "Okay, Mr. Lin, I will have my secretary go tomorrow, because I have some private matters to attend to tomorrow." Although Lin Feng did not know what the private matters he was talking about were, he could more or less guess a little bit. So, he agreed, "Okay, I will also be in the company tomorrow. Just tell them you are here to see me. Lin Feng would definitely give them a heads up in advance. If someone from the Lu family comes tomorrow, they can come to his office to see him directly. After hanging up the phone, Mr. Lu would of course explain this matter to his subordinates in a little bit, so that they would not be unaware. So when he passed on this matter, his housekeeper directly made a call and told the people who had been sent over, "You can now safely attack Zhang Yuxi and the eldest lady." By the way, the old man just changed his mind and said that he wanted to bring both of them back. Originally, the old man of the Lu family thought that if he wanted Lin Feng to forgive their Lu family, he should do something more extreme, that is, kill Zhang Yuxi and then bring him back. But now after making a phone call, he felt that Lin Feng should not care about Zhang Yuxi's life. If he was alive, it would be easier to deal with, so he asked people to bring him back alive. As for the eldest lady Lu Qingqing, if she wanted to escape again this time, I'm afraid she would be unable to escape. A group of people drove to the place where Lu Qingqing and Zhang Yuxi were. As a grandfather, the old man Lu was also very anxious, because he was afraid that his granddaughter would get drunk and have other relationships with Zhang Yuxi. So he hurriedly told everyone to go out immediately. No matter how big the traffic accident is, they must arrive as soon as possible. Fortunately, Zhang Yuxi did not do anything else to Lu Qingqing after he got drunk. He is now a very sensible person. He knows that people like Lu Qingqing, who have a temperament of a young lady, can only be coaxed and spoiled. She must not directly bypass him and do whatever she wants. Otherwise, when he wakes up, it will be a disaster. So, Lu Qingqing fell asleep in his house. Chapter 1386, I don't know anything. Zhang Yuxi stood up and started to call his people to ask. When he knew that almost every road leading out of the pass was blocked, he was so anxious that he smashed the phone and cursed, "Damn Lin Feng. These remaining people are lying in ambush on every road leading to the pass. Just wait until I get there and catch me. Are you so impatient to catch me? Don't worry. The more you want to catch me, the less I will let you catch me." It has to be said, Lin Feng has indeed transferred a lot of people. There are people lying in ambush on every road leading out of the Magic City. Even if he can lead his own people to fight his way out of the siege, he may not be able to leave the country. It's very stressful for him, so in the end he still has to rely on Lu Qingqing lying on the bed. This guy said that he is an ally, so he will definitely help him, right? And he has to wait until he wakes up before he can ask him a good question. At this time, suddenly, he heard a series of parking sounds coming from outside. No. His people should have agreed outside that no one would get close to this place. Who on earth could get close to his villa area? Just when Zhang Yuxi needed to make a phone call to express his doubts, he found that his phone had been broken. At this time, someone pushed the door in and saw that it was his people. He was relieved, but saw that the other party looked very embarrassed and bleeding on his face. He was a little surprised, and then asked the other party, "What's going on? What happened? How did you get so seriously injured?" The other party hurriedly said, "Mr. Zhang, please leave quickly, someone is coming outside. They are coming to come in on bicycles, so we can't stop them. We can only take people to take you away first." After hearing this, Zhang Yuxi seemed a little bit unbelievable. What exactly does this mean? He hid in this place, and no one except Lu Qingqing would know his whereabouts. And he had just unplugged the listening device on Lu Qingqing. Then no one should find them. But how come he was discovered now? He was discovered too quickly. He felt that this must be premeditated. So he asked. They didn't say who it was. After hearing this, the other party replied. They said it was someone from the Lu family, saying that they wanted to take you and the eldest lady back together. After hearing this, Zhang Yuxi shook his head, looking unbelievable. Impossible, how could they guess this place? When I was in the car just now, I had already thrown away the bug. But the people under him didn't know anything and shook their heads. He didn't know how to answer him. Zhang Yuxi slapped him, and then said to him, "What are you afraid of? Don't we still have a lot of people? Hurry up and let them all come together to stop all these people." But the other party looked very embarrassed, and said to him, "It's like this, Mr. Zhang. A lot of our people have been dealt with by them. If we transfer more from other places, it will take a while. But they are outside the door now. We don't have time to stop them, so Mr. Zhang, come with us." Zhang Yuxi gritted his teeth. He didn't expect that the other party would actually plot against him. He looked back at the drunk Lu Qingqing, and gritted his teeth and said, then I will take this woman with me, and if I go out with this woman, I shouldn't be hunted down by them, unless they want their Lu family's eldest daughter to die. The other party also agreed with what he said, and nodded and said, okay, then Mr. Lin, let's go quickly. Zhang Yuxi walked over unhappily, and then kicked Lu Qingqing who had fallen down, and said to him impatiently, get up first, we are leaving now. Lu Qingqing, who was in a coma, opened her eyes, looked at him, and shook her head and said, why are you leaving? I'm already drunk now, where can I go? I want to sleep here. After that, he lay directly on the ground. Zhang Yuxi didn't care about anything and just carried him up, and then he was going to go out. The people outside just rushed in, and said to him one by one with weapons in hand, hurry up and put a young lady down. Otherwise, we will not be polite. However, Zhang Yuxi could see that they had very melancholy expressions on their faces, so he said, if you really dare now, when the time comes, your patriarch will not forgive you when you go back. Being threatened by so many people holding weapons, Zhang Yuxi was of course very unhappy in his heart, but he also knew what the current situation was. Since there was no way to defeat these people, he could only use his brain. So, he said to these people, you'd better not come. Otherwise, whether I will hurt him or not is another matter. But these people from the Lu family did not believe that Zhang Yuxi dared to hurt their young lady. Otherwise, he would never be able to leave this place today. But Zhang Yuxi seemed to be really anxious, and he was very heavy when he attacked, pinching the other person's neck. Lu Qingqing was about to wake up even though she was drunk. After seeing this scene, all the people did not dare to go in and act rashly. Because they were afraid that Lu Qingqing would really be strangled to death by him, the leader asked Zhang Yuxi anxiously, what do you want? Zhang Yuxi said in the same way, what I want, don't you know? I just want to leave. But you are forcing me and chasing me like a dog. It's really troublesome. These people knew that Zhang Yuxi wanted to leave, but they couldn't let him go. If they let him go, they would have no way to explain when they go back. But now with Lu Qingqing's life as a threat, they believe that the old man of the Lu family cares more about his granddaughter. Therefore, these people in front of them hesitated. In the end, they compromised. Then they said to Zhang Yuxi, we can let you go. But you must leave the eldest lady behind. Chapter 1387. It's really amazing. Because in the entire Magic City, many people are paying attention. Once Zhang Yuxi is found, he will be rewarded, and the reward is of course money. So at this time, the method that everyone thought of was to let Zhang Yuxi leave, and if he was recognized by others on the street, and then tell the people above, he would not be able to escape. There is no other way to leave the Magic City. Anyway, you have to pass the checkpoint to leave, so the people in front of him immediately agreed. And put down the weapons in their hands and said to Zhang Yuxi, okay, we can let you go, then you must bring the person to me first. But after Zhang Yuxi heard it, he shook his head, looked at these people who were talking with some sarcasm, and then said, are you stupid? Do you think I will give Lu Qingqing to you? If I give it to you, then I can't leave. Besides, have you ever thought that if it weren't for your eldest lady wanting to go with me, I would never bring him to this place? Of course. These people who came out understood what they heard in the weather just now. It was obviously because their eldest lady wanted this person to go against Mr. Lin. That's why they helped him. Now he actually turned the tables and said that their eldest daughter wanted to go with him. How shameless. But everyone knew it but didn't say it out loud, otherwise it would be meaningless. Zhang Yuxi was a little strange, because he didn't hear these people mocking him, but their eyes made him feel a little uncomfortable, as if he had been seen through. He shook his head. Impossible. These people hadn't been in his home before, how could they know what he was thinking? So, he deliberately said loudly, okay, now I have said what I should say. Think about it, otherwise I will break his neck now. I'm not sure whether I can kill him, but I will definitely make you all pay the price. And he actually blocked his body behind Lu Qingqing. That is to say, if the other party dared to shoot, then the bullet would naturally hit Lu Qingqing first. And not himself. After thinking of this, everyone gnashed their teeth, because this person was really despicable. After everyone looked at each other for a few times, they finally nodded and said, okay, since you insist on leaving, then we won't keep you, but remember your choice today. If you want to come back in the future, you won't have this opportunity. Of course, these words sounded like sarcasm in Zhang Yuxi's ears. He shook his head and didn't care what the other party said. He was eager to leave, so how could he regret it? So, a group of them were in a stalemate, watching Zhang Yuxi and Lu Qingqing continue to walk outside. There happened to be a car parked outside, and Zhang Yuxi said to them, "Give me the car keys." After the other party had to give him the car keys, Zhang Yuxi hurriedly got in the car, and then took Lu Qingqing away at the same time. Lu Qingqing was restless even after being drunk, and it took a long time to get her in. If it weren't for the fear of accidental discharge and accidentally hurting Lu Qingqing, then these people would have come a long time ago. However, they also knew what the use was even if they gave this guy a car. There were many people in the whole demon realm who wanted to catch Zhang Yuxi, so they didn't need to chase him too closely. They just needed to contact Mr. Lu again and wait until Zhang Yuxi drove away. Mr. Lu just called them and said, "The listening device on Qingqing has a positioning function, so I will tell you the direction now, and you should drive to chase her." After hearing this, these people laughed happily and replied, "Good old man, don't worry, we will definitely bring the young lady back safely." Thinking of Lu Qingqing's neck being pinched by the other party just now, they were also very unhappy. After finding Zhang Yuxi, they must make the other party pay the price. They actually dared to treat their young lady like this. It's really abominable. Their young lady had said before that she would help this guy escape. As a result, she got such a fate. A group of people once again set out to find Zhang Yuxi and Lu Qingqing. Zhang Yuxi, who was driving in the front, didn't expect that he would actually bump into Lin Feng's car by chance. When he got on the highway, Lin Feng suddenly found a car in front of him. After the car window opened, a very familiar face appeared, and then he was surprised all of a sudden, muttering to himself, "Isn't this Zhang Yuxi? I can actually meet him by coincidence in this place, it's amazing. Driver, drive this car to the front, I want to catch him." After hearing this, the driver nodded, and then kept shuttling in this parking place, and finally came to the front of Zhang Yuxi's car. When Lin Feng looked at the two people in the car, he was stunned. After a long time, he pushed the driver next to him and said to the driver, "Did you see it? Are those two people Zhang Yuxi and Lu Qingqing?" The driver nodded, and also felt very impressed with Lin Feng's strength. If he hadn't deliberately looked just now, they would never have realized that the two people were people they knew. But Lin Feng could detect the existence of those two people with just a casual glance, so he said to Lin Feng in an exaggerated way, "Boss Lin, you are so amazing. With your strength, you are more than enough to be a pilot. With your good physical condition, you are just the boss of a company, which is really unfair to you." Lin Feng laughed, then patted his driver on the shoulder, and said to him, "You are really sweet. However, now is not a good time to flatter. Tell me honestly, those two people are now in front of us. Did they appear in front of us accidentally, or did they come to this place on purpose and want to do something else?" Because Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi have been fighting for so long, he thinks that the other party should not do such a stupid thing that has no benefit, so he is so suspicious. But after hearing this, his driver shook his head and said to him very firmly, "How is it possible? Boss Lin, you must be thinking too much. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels." Chapter 1388, Flying Away. Think about it. We have been fighting them for more than half a month. And this guy would rather flee abroad now to avoid your revenge. So why do you think he would take the initiative to come to us this time? It must be because we accidentally ran into them, so they should blame their bad luck, ha ha ha. To be honest, Lin Feng felt that the driver in front of him looked happier than himself. Because he met Zhang Yuxi and the others, but Lin Feng felt that there was something wrong. If the other party was really careless, there shouldn't be only two people in the car, and there was also Lu Qingqing. What does this mean? Lin Feng clearly remembered everything that Mr. Lu promised him before. It was said that Lu Qingqing had turned over a new leaf and would no longer help Zhang Yuxi. But when he turned around, he saw the two of them together. If the two of them had no relationship, it would make Lin Feng feel like he was deceived like a fool. But if Lin Feng took this photo and then turned around to question Mr. Lu, it would inevitably affect the affairs of the two families. But at this moment, the driver could not care so much. He said to Lin Feng, "Mr. Lin, I seem to have seen clearly just now that there is also the eldest daughter of the Lu family in that car, and that guy is actually with Zhang Yuxi. Thank goodness that you have shown mercy to the Liu family so many times before, Mr. Lin. If they are not punished this time, then I guess they will ignore you like this next time. Even I can't stand it. So if you mind, Mr. Lin, then I will help you." After hearing this, Lin Feng frowned a little. After hesitating for a while, he thought carefully. If he went out so easily and alarmed those two people, maybe they would jump out of the window in a hurry and escape. Regardless of whether the other party can catch up or not, in such a situation, Lin Feng will definitely not do it himself, and the driver next to him may not be able to catch up if he really takes action. So now there is one thing that is very speechless. That is, the driver actually jumped out of the car regardless of his objection, and then ran. Want to catch Zhang Yuxi and Liu Qingqing. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng's eyes widened directly. Because he didn't order the driver to do this just now, what was the reason for him to do this? Is it just to satisfy Lin Feng? But his boss didn't order him to do it, he made a decision alone. That can only mean that either he has low emotional intelligence or he must have a purpose. Lin Feng felt that the driver who had followed him for so long should not betray him, so he was looking forward to the other party being able to catch the person back. But when the driver just got off the car, he had already caused a traffic jam. There were various rear-end collisions in this section of cars. Because the driver's skills were very flexible, even Lin Feng was a little stunned. Because the other party's flexible skills can be compared with some professional martial artists. And this guy didn't say this when he applied for his driver. Could it be that he has always been an informant hiding beside him? If so, Lin Feng would not be very happy. Lin Feng's face suddenly became cold. He didn't care whether Zhang Yuxi, who was under his nose, would be rescued, but the only thing he cared about was whether the people around him would betray him. These were two completely different things. So Lin Feng lay directly on the car window, and then said to the driver who was running in front, "Come back quickly, if you don't come back, then I will fire you." In the case of so many people, he, the boss of a company, actually gave such an order to a driver, which really made him feel a little embarrassed. But the other party still didn't care and kept running on the highway. Seeing that the highway was blocked for a long time, even if he ran to the side of Zhang Yuxi's car, it would not affect the normal traffic flow. So Lin Feng's eyes became more surprised. If he gets off the car now, it will be too late. He can see that this distance is enough for his driver to run to Zhang Yuxi's car. If he gets off the car, then the car will definitely stop at this place. So Lin Feng sat directly in the driver's seat, but he was staring at the direction of Zhang Yuxi's car. Similarly, when he saw someone running towards him, Zhang Yuxi was shocked at first, because he has now formed an instinctive reaction. In so many days, people have been chasing him, and he has become numb. So once he sees someone coming, he wants to run away, and the person he sees in front of him is actually the driver next to Lin Feng. He also feels a little confused and his eyes are not dry. The other party is not familiar with him at all. Could it be that the other man has some orders from Lin Feng? And maybe the other party must be nearby. He looked at the nearby cars in a panic, and when he saw a very new and very high-quality sports car, Lin Feng's face was slowly reflected on the car window. After Zhang Yuxi saw it, he sneered. It was as expected. After seeing Lin Feng, he understood why the driver came to him. The other party must be arresting him, so he sneered, shook Liu Qingqing beside him, and said to Liu Qingqing, "If you don't get up, I will run away alone." He could see that the other party also seized the opportunity. If the other party arrived at his side, he would not be able to leave if he didn't drive away. So he stepped on the accelerator directly and flew out with a whir. So when his car started running, he said to the driver behind him with a very proud look, "Come and chase me. If you catch up with me, help me catch it, otherwise, you can't catch anything from me." After he drove away, other cars followed closely. Everyone was very angry about the person who was blocking the middle. Some drivers had already stuck their heads out of the car window to curse. "Psycho, what are you doing here? Don't you see how many lives you have left to be killed? If you don't want to live, then don't come to harm us, get out of here." The drivers all said in disgust. Others also thought that this guy was very hateful. Only the driver himself tried hard to catch up with the car driven by Zhang Yuxi and his friends. Because he felt that as long as he caught up, he would be able to make a contribution. But Lin Feng felt a little speechless. In this way, then the other party should have nothing to do with Zhang Yuxi. Otherwise, he should have gotten into the other party's car and flew away together. But it didn't seem like that. then it means one thing, that is, it is very likely that they are not on the same group. But in the end, Lin Feng guessed wrong. Chapter 1389, the acting is really great. Because when the driver caught up with Zhang Caishen's car, he said to Zhang Caishen, "My disguise is over now. Can you let me return to you now, my young master?" After hearing this, Zhang Caishen was still a little surprised. Because the other party was very sincere in what he said to him, it can be seen that the other party should not lie to him. But in his mind, he didn't think that any of his subordinates looked exactly like this driver. He felt that the other party must be lying to him. So he said very coldly, "Your acting is really great, although I have to admire you. I almost believed what you said, but please find out clearly, none of my subordinates looks like you. If you have any brothers, then I may be able to understand you." Just after he finished the sentence, the other party said to him, "It's like this, Master, I was your man before. But, because I wanted to blend in with Lin Feng, I had plastic surgery. It was completely changed to the face of another of his men, so after half a year, I became a driver he trusts very much. When I drove to pick up the order just now, it was because I got the news that you were going to escape, and finally drove along this route. Master, take me away, I won't cause you any more trouble. Because I have already planned how to take you out of this city." After hearing this, Zhang Caishen still had some doubts. Because there was no trace of plastic surgery on the other party's face, it could only be said that the other party's plastic surgery skills were really good. He said to the other party, "If you want to prove that you are on my side, then I can give you a chance to prove yourself, but you must tell me one thing, that is, what I care about most." After hearing this, the other party said without hesitation, "Of course, what the young master cares about is the company abroad. Although the young master still has such a huge industry in China, what you care about most should be the aerial cultivation field abroad, right?" After hearing this, Zhang Caishen was so happy that he almost cried out. Because he had acquired many people who betrayed him at this moment. Now there was a sudden turn of events, and suddenly there was one more of his own. He was so happy that he didn't know what to say. So, he said to this person, "Then get in the car first, I'm afraid you will be hid in this place." After saying this, he took the initiative to open this car door, so that the other party could come in. The other party nodded excitedly, then climbed into the car, and met a person who closed the door. So, they drove the car directly to the front, after seeing such a scene. Lin Feng in the back looked unhappy. Although he was willing to believe that the driver was on his side, the other party still used his actions to show his final choice. But Lin Feng was not so angry. He said to the people here, "Okay, you dare to betray me. Then I will let you know how miserable the ending between you and them will be." Lin Feng felt that he should go back and check the people under his command. Maybe, he could catch a lot of people like the driver just now. He was too careless before. He was actually played around by these people. Lin Feng first called his secretary and assistant. Then he asked them to keep an eye on the batch of drugs that had been produced in his company, and absolutely not let anyone tamper with it. It must be locked in the warehouse. As for the Lu family, which had already placed the first order with his company, Lin Feng would meet with them in person tomorrow. Because this matter is no longer an ordinary cooperative relationship, it has risen to the level between the two families. Is it possible that they will become enemies? Because Lin Feng's tone was not very pleasant, the secretary on the other side of the conversation asked him, "Boss Lin, what happened here? Is there any problem in the car that cannot be solved? Do you want me to send someone over?" After Lin Feng heard the words from the other side, he looked unhappy, but still said to the assistant with some explanation, "You don't need to come here for now, because the current situation is a bit complicated, I can drive back by myself." Lin Feng couldn't tell him that his driver had betrayed him. Although this was not a big deal for Lin Feng, he still felt that he would feel very embarrassed after saying it, so after he said this, the other party was still a little anxious. Because he always felt that Lin Feng was hiding something from him. As one of the closest people to Lin Feng, he felt that he should know, but Lin Feng was unwilling to say it, and he, as a subordinate, didn't know how to say it, so he could only nod and say, "Okay, Boss Lin, you should be careful. If there is anything that needs me to deal with, then call me in time." The other party also knew that Lin Feng was driving now, so he stopped talking. Oh, how come he suddenly forgot that Mr. Lin can't drive? There should be a driver beside him, but why does Mr. Lin need to drive himself for such a small matter? It's over. It must be because Mr. Lin was embarrassed to tell me about what happened just now, so he didn't say more? After thinking about this, I have to say, the secretary is still a person who knows how to deal with such things. So, he quickly called another assistant next to him and said, "Check now, where's the driver who just drove for Mr. Lin? If there is no accident, he either has something wrong, or he did something bad to Mr. Lin, so Mr. Lin didn't let him continue to drive." As soon as the secretary finished this sentence, the other party nodded, and then said to him, "Okay, I will go and check what happened to the driver right away. It shouldn't be, he has been working in our company for so many years, and he is an old man. It is absolutely impossible for him to do anything to hurt our Mr. Lin, so you must have guessed wrong." Although the assistant thought so, he still wanted to find out the truth. He really went to call the driver who had just driven Lin Feng. But the call was not connected. Moreover, the satellite positioning information of the other party had deviated a lot from that of Lin Feng and the others. Although they were within 5 kilometers of the vicinity, the car was still off track, so he was already a little unhappy. Although the assistant was very angry in his heart, he also knew that he must not interfere. If Lin Feng didn't say anything, then he couldn't make a decision on his own. Or, the driver must have heard some other order from Lin Feng, so he left temporarily and didn't drive for Lin Feng. And then went to do other things, which is also possible. If he misunderstood, he would make mistakes again and again. So he didn't take any action after making the decision. After hanging up the phone, he asked the secretary to prepare for Lin Feng's second order. Chapter 1390. There is a traitor. On the other side, Lin Feng was driving back to his home. He knew that if he continued to follow Zhang Yuxi this time, it would probably not work. So he gave up following Zhang Yuxi and returned to his residence. As soon as he returned, he heard Zhang Yuxi say to him, "Husband, someone in the company called you just now. I said you haven't got off work yet, so he told me that if you get off work, I must tell you to call him back." After hearing this, Lin Feng nodded, then kissed Zhang Yuxi's forehead, took out the phone and called someone in the company. After the call was connected, the secretary and the assistant were both there. They were a little at a loss and said to Lin Feng's phone, "Boss Lin, how are you now? We care about you." After hearing this, Lin Feng felt warm in his heart. After all, although there are people who betray him around him, there are also people who are sincere. He shook his head and said, "It's nothing serious. Just fire the driver who drove me from tomorrow. If he comes to the company again, tell him that he doesn't have to come to work anymore." Seeing Lin Feng so angry, they could probably guess why, and nodded and said, "Okay, Mr. Lin. Don't worry, since that traitor dared to betray you, we will make him pay the price." After saying this, everyone felt very sorry for Lin Feng. Originally, after returning from the company's press conference, he could place orders with other companies that wanted to cooperate, but everything became different because of this guy. However, Lin Feng would not be sad for such a traitor, so the matter just passed. On the other side, Zhang Yuxi in the car and the driver who followed him were discussing this action very intensely. Zhang Yuxi said to the driver, "Fortunately, you have been lurking by Lin Feng's side, otherwise I am afraid I really can't escape this time. Just based on the look he gave me just now, I guess he wants to catch me." Another person nodded and said, "That's right, don't worry, young master. I stayed by Lin Feng's side because of your father. He told me that I must learn to be patient and can only help you at critical moments. I didn't expect that such a critical moment would really come." But after the other party finished speaking, Zhang Yuxi looked at him with a very surprised expression, and asked uncertainly, "Is what you said true? My father asked you to lurk by Lin Feng's side and help me when I need help, but how come I don't know about this?" Because in Zhang Yuxi's heart, he always felt that his father was very willing to stay by Lin Feng's side, not only because he had worked in Lin Feng's laboratory building for so many years. And he also felt that he didn't have a son as good as Lin Feng, so Zhang Yuxi always felt that his father thought he was useless, so he was willing to leave him. And before, he asked his secretary Lisa to invite his father back. But the other party did not agree to come back with him, but stayed with Lin Feng. This made him even more painful. From then on, he never cared about his father. Until now, the driver in front of him told him that his father had always been planning for him. After hearing what he said, the other party also expressed some confusion, and then asked, "Master, where did you hear it from? How could he not care about you? You must have thought too much. You know, the old man hopes most to see you happy." Before, he told me that you two had a quarrel. I wanted to persuade you, but he said not to disturb you. After learning about what his father did from others, Zhang Yuxi certainly felt very guilty. So, he grabbed the driver's tie and asked him loudly, "Then tell me, where's my father now?" After hearing his loud question, the other party shook his head. It seems that he is unwilling to mention this matter. Zhang Yuxi also thought about the fact that he had heard his old father's heart before. So it was normal that the other party didn't want to see him. In addition, there was one thing he was discussing now. If his father was involved, then the other party would run away with him or not, which made him very hesitant. He shook his head and said, "Okay, since you don't want to say it, I don't have anything else to tell you." After hearing this, the driver hurriedly said, "Master, it's not that I don't want to tell you, but if I lose, then I won't be able to see your father in the future. You also know that he is a very stubborn person. If I let him know that I betrayed him, then he will never believe me from now on. Once he leaves, then you will never find him again." After seeing the driver's aggrieved expression, Zhang Yuxi also understood that he also had his share in these mistakes. He shouldn't lose his temper with the other party, so he shook his head and said, "It's okay, I won't say such sad words to you from now on, and after I escape abroad, please tell my father that I will wait for him abroad." At this time, the driver nodded heavily. In fact, he himself didn't know what Zhang Yuxi's father was planning. He only knew that his current purpose was to protect his eldest master from going abroad. Apart from that, he had no other mission. But they didn't know that everything they said now had been heard. And it was heard by the Lu family. Because of the hairpin placed on Lu Qingqing, there has always been a monitoring device, so their every move has been mastered by the Lu family, and how they just angered Lin Feng. These things were also secretly heard by the Lu family. Mr. Lu looked at the helpless housekeeper and said, "Tell Lin Feng now. Since we have mastered the actions of these people, of course we should find a useful person." Chapter 1391 Great Benefits. Because Mr. Lu didn't react before, Lin Feng already knew that his granddaughter was also in Zhang Yuxi's car. He would definitely think too much, so he had to take advantage of this time to explain it well. Maybe, Lin Feng might forgive him in the end. This is related to the whole family. The light in Mr. Lu's eyes made others feel that it was really the same as in the past, and he was the only one who made the decision in the entire Lu family. Lin Feng didn't succeed in catching up with Zhang Yuxi and Lu Qingqing, but there was another person who was chasing that person. This person was Zhang Yuxi's former secretary, that is, Lisa. He wanted to avenge the previous revenge very much, so no matter how far Zhang Yuxi's car drove, he kept chasing forward, hoping to find the other party in the end. Fortunately, it was not in vain. Finally, at a crossroads, he saw the familiar car. So he asked the person driving next to him to catch up quickly. The person with him happened to be the detective related to Lin Feng. He was a little hesitant after hearing his words. It seemed that he was still undecided whether to do this or not, but Lisa had already said to him very threateningly, "Don't you want to listen to me? Didn't I tell you that as long as you complete this task, it will benefit both you and me, and I will be able to fulfill my long-cherished luck. And you, however, can regard this matter as a token of your appreciation to your master. After you do it, he might even reward you. Isn't this a very meaningful thing?" Seeing Lisa talking to him seriously in front of him, he did hesitate a little. But in the end, he still said to her with some disapproval, "I can help you this time because of our past relationship. It's because you threatened me again and again to let me do things for you. If it weren't for this, how could I help you again and again?" Seeing her reluctant look, Lisa couldn't help but hook his arm, threw him a wink, and then said, "How can this be considered as me threatening you? This is called you and I are willing. The conditions I set and the price I paid are for you to help me do this. What's not satisfactory? Did you get it? You got me, and you can also get the appreciation of your boss." After saying this, the detective shook his head. Although he was working for Lin Feng, it was obvious that the only person who could really move Lisa was Qin Keke. It's just that Qin Keke didn't want to, so such a good thing fell directly into the hands of this person. He nodded and said, "Okay, I'll go with you. After we catch them, I'll go back and tell Mr. Lin." Although Lisa had been very fantasizing before and thought that he could join Lin Feng's side, he no longer had any hope now, knowing that he didn't have this opportunity. If there was, it shouldn't have been achieved yet, so being able to use the people around Lin Feng was already very good for him. As for whether he would be punished by Lin Feng after using them, That was not his business. Lisa kissed him on the face, and then encouraged him, drive faster, catch up with them, and tie them up. This will be of great benefit to both of us. After saying this, the detective seemed to be fascinated, nodding continuously, and constantly fulfilling Lisa's true wish. The two continued to drive the car and caught up with Zhang Caishen's car. The other party was not unaware. No matter what, Zhang Caishen's driving skills were still pretty good. In addition, the driver next to him was not an ordinary person. So after they drove for a while, they found a Honda car following them. After seeing someone following them, Zhang Caishen's first thought was to kill the other party. He absolutely could not let the other party follow him again. In the past few days, he seemed to be a frightened bird. Whenever he saw any car that might be following him, he would let his men create some trouble for the other party. So he thought that the car in front of him was confirmed to be following him. So he didn't need to show mercy. But at this time, the driver who had returned to him said, "Mr. Zhang, do you want to get rid of the Honda car behind?" Zhang Caishen nodded and said truthfully, "Of course, the person in that car was obviously sent by Lin Feng. If I don't get rid of the person who followed me now, do I have to let him follow me to my house?" But the driver shook his head and said with a smirk on his face, "But, Mr. Zhang, have you ever thought that we can use this guy to do something? If we just let him go like this, wouldn't it be too easy for him?" After hearing what he said, Zhang Caishen was interested, and asked him, "Okay, if you have anything to say, just say it directly, don't let me guess." The driver snapped his fingers, and then said to him, "Mr. Zhang, don't you think this lady beside you is too troublesome? If we keep her with us all the time, it may be disadvantageous to both of us. Why not take this opportunity to get rid of her, and also create some trouble for the car behind? Isn't it better?" Zhang Caishen still didn't understand, and looked at him with a very puzzled look. The other party laughed and said, "It's like this, now we will stop at the intersection next to it, and then when the car behind catches up, we will throw the eldest lady of the Lu family onto the road. No matter what, the car behind will stop to pick up the person and take her back, otherwise, they will also offend the Lu family." However, the driver's words did not get Zhang Caishen's approval. He still said with some disappointment, "Then you underestimate the Lu family. In order to please Lin Feng, they can do anything, even if it means sacrificing a granddaughter. What's the big deal? The old fox in the Lu family is not as easy to deal with as you think." After hearing this, the driver thought of another idea and said, "That doesn't matter. Although the Lu family is eager to cooperate with Lin Feng and others now, we have bullied his granddaughter like this and framed Lin Feng. If Mr. Lu doesn't even care about his granddaughter, then we can do something else, but how important his granddaughter is to him, I believe you know it yourself, Mr. Zhang." After hearing this, Zhang Caishen also began to make plans. That's right. When the Honda car followed him, he was very unhappy. He wanted to get rid of the other party very much. But they didn't know that the person sitting in the Honda car behind was not someone sent by Lin Feng, but someone else. But when they knew the truth, everything was too late. And there were other ears in the car that heard their conversation. The hairpin on Lu Qingqing's head directly transmitted their conversation to the ears of the old man of the Lu family. Chapter 1392, Meet an Old Acquaintance. On the other side, there was a loud slap. The old man slapped the table with his hand, and then said to the secretary next to him angrily, "Send someone to bring the eldest lady back now, and don't let her get into any trouble." The reason why Mr. Lu was so angry was because he knew that the people on Lin Feng's side had no time to send people to follow Zhang Caishen and the others. In other words, it was still unknown which faction the car behind belonged to. If they knew the eldest lady of the Lu family, then it would be easy to deal with. At least Lu Qingqing would not be harmed. But if they didn't know this person, would they just throw her to the side of the road and ignore her, or even get rid of her? After thinking of such an ending, he, as a grandfather, was really sad. For him, whether it was his grandson or granddaughter, they were his beloved babies. After hearing this, the housekeeper nodded quickly. He knew that if this matter was delayed, he would definitely be criticized, and the matter would definitely not end so simply. He immediately notified the cart to pick up their eldest daughter. Since they had already decided to use Lu Qingqing as a bait to throw to Lin Feng, Zhang Caishen also made a very straightforward decision. He immediately asked the driver to stop the car on the side of the road. Then, looking at the Honda car behind them, which was only a few hundred meters away from them, the driver took Lu Qingqing out of the car. In a daze, Lu Qingqing was about to wake up, but Zhang Cation chopped her down with one hand and knocked her unconscious again. As a result, what can be seen is that the other party lay quietly in his arms. Although he did nothing and said nothing now. But the old man of the Lu family who was closely watching all this on the other side was very frightened. He was already anxiously turning back and forth in the room. Do you think they will really throw the child on the main road? Is there any traffic in that place? Seeing how anxious he was, the housekeeper naturally did not dare to contradict him, and could only bite the bullet and say, the eldest lady was thrown onto the road by them, which means that the place must be a place with few vehicles. Otherwise, he would not dare to do so. He would not dare to offend our Lu family. However, Mr. Lu shook his head and said loudly, no, why doesn't he dare to offend our Lu family? Looking at his appearance, I think he is a person who doesn't care about his life. What else would he not dare to do in order to escape from the country? No. Now you immediately send a few more cars and bring my granddaughter back to me. After receiving the order, the housekeeper immediately nodded and said, yes, old man. I will take people to pick up the eldest lady now. Don't worry, I will be back in 2 hours. After taking people out, the old man was still worried, but he no longer had the patience to wait. The secretary next to him saw it and said to him, Grandpa, you should give me this monitoring device, otherwise if you hear some bad news again, you will worry that the eldest lady will come back safely, so you can rest assured. How can he be at ease in the current situation? However, since the other party comforted him in this way, he couldn't say much. So he could only lower his head and said, okay, then I won't listen to anything about my granddaughter for the time being, but if he really loses a little, then I will make those two guys pay a heavy price. The old man was naturally talking about Zhang Cation, who was speaking in the surveillance, and the driver next to him who betrayed Lin Feng. These two guys can be said to be traitors. Anyone should be severely punished. Originally, the old man of the Lu family did not want to involve his family in the matter of Zhang Cation. But now that the other party has really provoked him, so he decided that he would not let the other party have an easy time. After he finished speaking, the people around him also understood what he meant. One by one, they were waiting to see the show. On the other side, after Zhang Cation discussed with the driver next to him, they carried Lu Qingqing's body directly to the middle of the road, and then drove away directly. There were relatively few people on this road, so if Lu Qingqing would have a car accident, it would not happen, but the Honda car that caught up from behind. Seeing a person lying straight in the middle of the road, he just lay there without moving, and he didn't know whether it was because he fainted on the ground or was hit by someone. Then he was lying on the ground, but there was no trace of dirt on his body, so it didn't look like he was hit, so one of them ran to the car, and pushed Lu Qingqing on the ground, and said to him, what's wrong with you? But after this person pushed Lu Qingqing on the ground, he was shocked. Because the person who got out of the car happened to be Lisa, whom Lu Qingqing had met before. He looked at himself and actually met each other, and couldn't help but sneered, and really didn't know what to say. It was really clever, so he said to the detective in the car, come down for a moment, I met an old acquaintance. The other party didn't know what he was doing, so he could only get out of the car and take a look at him. Then, he saw the person on the ground. Wasn't she the young lady who had come to see their boss before? She was lying here. What was the reason? It was because the two people in the car they had followed before carried him down. Otherwise, he couldn't be lying straight here. And this guy didn't look like an ordinary sleeper. He glanced at Lisa beside him, and then said, don't you think I should save him now? If I don't save him, he might be waiting here and be hit by other cars. And if we don't pick him up, then he will continue to stop us and prevent us from driving forward. You still have to catch up with Zhang Cation, so don't waste time. Of course. Lisa was also very unhappy after hearing this. Originally, she was going to follow the detective beside her to catch up with Zhang Cation, but this person stood in front of him. If it was an ordinary person, he would not be afraid of knocking the other person away, but this person is the eldest daughter of the Lu family. While he wanted to seek revenge on Zhang Cation, he also had to understand one of his conditions, that is, if he caused any trouble to Lu Qingqing, he and Zhang Cation would be different. Zhang Cation was able to offend people and not be killed by Lin Feng's people, but if he offended Lu Qingqing, he would definitely be severely retaliated by the people of the Lu family, so he was not a person who did not know the severity of the situation, and could only say to the detective, okay, then I'll listen to you, let's carry him to the car. In fact, There were not many grievances between him and Lu Qingqing. It was nothing more than the matter about Zhang Cation. Since he couldn't get around this woman at the moment, then he would take him with him. Chapter 1393 The Detective's Superpower. Lisa took the initiative to help the detective. He dragged Lu Qingqing to his car and then drove himself. However, he said to the detective, "Why did you lose her just now? Can you still catch up with her now?" The detective looked very confident. He smiled at him and said, "Of course. Don't you see who I am? If I want to track down a car, wouldn't it be easy?" Seeing his confidence, Lisa also showed an excited smile on her face. She grabbed his hand excitedly and shook it vigorously, and then said to him urgently, "Then tell me where she is quickly. I want to know her whereabouts immediately. If you don't know, then everything will be in vain." Although he was forcing the other party to tell him about Zhang Cation and the others' whereabouts quickly, he also understood one thing. That is, the other party must know where Zhang Cation fled to. Sure enough, the next second, the other party took out one of his mobile phones. Then he opened the phone and entered a website that he had never seen before, which was full of English symbols. Then, he operated very quickly with both hands. He had modified the addresses of several websites immediately. Suddenly, a small dot appeared on his phone. This small dot was red. It was a road formed from all the websites. And the topographic map on the phone was exactly the area where they were. The other party turned to Lisa and said happily, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and follow our road." It has to be said, Lisa was directly impressed by the other party's operation, so he didn't react for the time being. After he reacted, he nodded hurriedly and said, "Okay, I will follow you right away." According to the topographic map on the other party's phone, Lisa drove quickly and kept giving way on this road. Finally, after driving very quickly for half an hour, he finally saw a very familiar car less than 100 meters ahead of him. It was Zhang Cation's car. Lisa had an excited expression on her face, then turned around and looked at the smart and skilled detective next to her, and said excitedly, "You are awesome. I didn't expect you to be able to retrieve so much traffic information. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would never have believed that you have superpowers as a detective." After being praised like this, the other party was of course very happy. Regardless of whether they have a cooperative relationship or not, as long as laymen know about their profession, they will be full of praise after coming in. For example, Lisa is the same now, so he touched his head and said a little embarrassedly, "What's the big deal? It's just my basic operation. If there's a chance, then I want you to see a more powerful side." When he said this, the other party couldn't help blinking, as if he was a little too proud. But they should be happy now. Zhang Cation is already in front of them. But there's still a problem they need to solve, that is, Zhang Cation had a hard time getting rid of them before, and now they appear behind Zhang Cation's car again. If they are discovered, then there is no guarantee that Zhang Cation will really return to his own home. So now the detective said to Lisa, "You changed the position with me. I drive like this, so that Zhang Cation will not find us, and we will follow him." The lesson just now has made them remember, so the detective does not want all the previous efforts to go to waste. After he and Lisa talked about the location of the phone, they drove carefully behind Zhang Cation's car. So even if Zhang Cation stopped sometimes, he didn't know that there was a Honda car chasing him behind him, running all the time. If he knew, he would definitely drive towards his big villa. Along the way, what made Lisa sigh the most was that there were many places. Even when he was a secretary for Zhang Cation before, he didn't know where the other party's villa was, so it was enough to see how cunning the other party was. Lisa's face was not looking good. The detective turned around and glanced at him, then said comfortingly, "Don't be too angry. Anyway, he won't be caught by us. As long as we catch him, he can do whatever he wants at that time, right?" Under the comfort of this comrade, Lisa finally became a little rational, and then pinched the nails in his hand fiercely, and said to himself, "I have waited for this opportunity with great difficulty. No matter whether I risk my life or not, I will find Zhang Cation to pay the price for what happened before." It can be said that Lisa really spent a lot of effort to escape. The eldest lady of the Wang family before the Wang family wanted him to shut up forever. If it weren't for his wit, he would have died long ago. Being able to live until now, it can only be said that his IQ is indeed very high, but this has no conflict with seeking revenge on Zhang Cation. The other party also knew that if people like Lisa did not seek revenge, it would be difficult to let go of the hatred in their hearts, So he nodded and went back to report Lin Feng's completed tasks as soon as possible. Just keep driving the car. They have already caught up with Zhang Yuxi, so there is no need to be as cautious as before. As the tracking technology gets better and better, they have not been thrown off. The detective brought Lu Qingqing to the place outside Zhang Yuxi's villa. After he left the car, he took Lisa and the other two and sneaked into the community together. But before entering the community, a security guard stopped them and said to them, "Who are you?" The detective was a little worried and wanted to explain, but Lisa was really familiar with this kind of thing and said to the other party unhappily, "Can't you stand in your dog's eyes and see clearly? Since we can drive such a car, can't we afford to live in such a community?" After being scolded by the two of them, the security guard didn't say much. He could only watch them and continue to squeeze in. After the two people went in, as the detective did to Zhang Yuxi, the two people who were tracking him slowly approached. Chapter 1394 The Famous Racing King. On the other side, although he stopped listening to the monitor, Mr. Lu was still as anxious as before. He said to the housekeeper next to him, "What's going on? Can you find my precious granddaughter as soon as possible?" The housekeeper was also anxious to comfort him. He put down the earphone of the monitor in his hand, and then said to him, "Grandpa, don't be anxious anymore. It's not a solution if you are so anxious. If you get yourself angry, we will suffer as well. So you'd better take good care of yourself. Our people will definitely complete this task." But Mr. Lu was a little unwilling and said, "I don't know how long it will take for you to complete the task. Prepare a car for me now. I have decided. I want to go to see people in person. Perhaps for a family, doing such a thing is not in line with his status at all, but for a grandfather, there is nothing wrong with him doing so." Therefore, many people envied the eldest lady of the Lu family. Why should Lu Qingqing be unhappy about having a grandfather like the old man? She had to think about it and go against Lin Feng. Isn't this just asking for death? Everyone felt sorry for Mr. Lu, so they didn't stop him. At most, they could send a few more people to protect him, so in the end, Mr. Lu walked out of his villa. At this time, a group of people in suits came to his door, and they seemed to have something to ask them. Just after the people came out, the group of people came up and bowed to him very politely. Then he said, "Mr. Lu, we are sent by Mr. Lin. When Mr. Lin learned that you told him about his business rival, he was very happy. He also knew that it was your granddaughter who got such important information regardless of her own safety. So he decided to repay you well, so he asked us to help you. If you have any instructions, just do it." Unexpectedly, Lin Feng also sent people to support him, so Mr. Lu became very happy all of a sudden. He originally thought that Lin Feng would not give him any hope before there was any confirmed news, or give him benefits, but he was wrong in the end, so he nodded, patted the shoulder of the housekeeper next to him and said, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and let these brothers follow us. With them, we can find my granddaughter earlier." So everyone can now see that the old man of the Lu family in front of him cares most about his precious granddaughter. As for other matters concerning the Lu family, the Lin family, and the Zhang family, he temporarily put them behind his mind. Because when the group of people sent by Lin Feng showed up, Mr. Lu never mentioned the issue of their cooperation. Of course, these people are not without vision. They can see what others really need, so they will not offend them. They just need to listen to their instructions and do good things. The housekeeper nodded quickly. Seeing that his master had cheered up, he felt much more relieved, and then said to the people below, "You guys hurry up and prepare the car." After saying this, everyone else went down. After about 10 minutes, the housekeeper looked at Mr. Lu and said with some concern, "Old man, you are not in good health now, otherwise, I will change you a more comfortable car." Because this car was driving very fast, but he was afraid that his master would not be physically comfortable, but after hearing this, the old man just gave him a look, and then said too happily, "What do you mean? You think I am old, right? Although I am indeed old now, I am still quite talkative. Don't waste so much time. If I say that you really have something wrong, will you be responsible?" Even the housekeeper who has been with Mr. Lu for so many years, when he was scolded by him, he could only bow his head and dare not say anything to refute, otherwise, it would only make the old man more angry. So after being scolded, the housekeeper did not dare to say much, and hurriedly got up and drove. He is usually a very sensible person, and he just didn't notice it today. However, he also understood that Mr. Lu was angry at the moment, and it should be fine after this moment. Although the housekeeper had agreed to let Mr. Liu sit in this fast sports car and get to the place where his granddaughter was as soon as possible, because of the monitoring and positioning devices installed. So they ran directly to the location where Lu Qingqing was. Although Lu Qingqing was not in Zhang Keishan's car now, the housekeeper knew clearly what the two people in the car said. Wasn't the previous one a secretary who betrayed Zhang Keishan? With these two people as cannon fodder, it would be much more convenient for the people of their Liu family to go out together. The housekeeper promptly reported the positioning information to his master, Mr. Liu, and he said, "Now our eldest lady is parked at the gate of a community." But he didn't go in. I guess those two people have always kept the eldest lady in the car and have never moved her. Mr. Liu just nodded, didn't say anything, but his face was very serious. After getting in the car, a driver next to him drove like this, but Mr. Liu said to him, "Get out of the way." The driver next to him thought he meant to let someone else take over driving, so he nodded. When he was about to let someone else take over, the old man suddenly sat in the driving seat and said to the stunned people, "Watch me, don't you think I'm too old to drive? I'll tell you now, the old ones are still the best, I can definitely be faster than you." The housekeeper frowned, and he looked at his old man in confusion. What does this mean? What does the other party want to express? What does it mean to be faster than them? Does the other party want to drive himself? His doubts were all written on his face, so the old man nodded and said to him with a smile, "Yes, you guessed right, I have decided that I want to drive this car myself. When I was young, I was at least a famous racing king. Even if I am old, I will never let you doubt my professional level, so you just wait and watch how I race." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1395, The Sword Still in Use. After hearing this, everyone was shocked. It seemed that they didn't expect that the old man of the Liu family, who is usually meticulous and very serious, would actually say such a childish thing. Someone couldn't help but walk up to him and said, "Old man, you'd better stop making trouble. We all know how powerful you were when you were young, but now we are going to save people, not to make a fuss, so let us drive, lest you get hurt, we will be really miserable." After all, everyone still didn't believe it. He was already over 70 years old, how could he still do such a thing as speeding? Even if he drove seriously, it would be very dangerous, but the old man of the Liu family just didn't believe it. He waved his hand and threw the people next to him aside, and then said a little unhappy, "You all look down on me, but it doesn't matter, I will be able to prove it to you soon. Now, who among you is the most dissatisfied with me? Stand up, and then I will let you sit in my co-pilot seat and let me see clearly." I really didn't expect that I could actually see such a good show. Originally arranged by Lin Feng, this group of people thought that they could just complete a task and then go back to report. But seeing that this old man was still arguing with a group of juniors, they also thought it was really interesting, so they couldn't help but look at him a few more times. The housekeeper was almost sweating profusely. Not only did this group of people not help you persuade the old man at this time, but they also stood by and watched the show. This was really too much. However, the housekeeper also understood that others could not change the old man's decision. He could only put the car keys in his palm and said to him, "Okay, our car will follow behind you." After hearing what the other party said, the old man was not too disgusted, and nodded and said, "Okay, you follow behind me, but you are not allowed to overtake my car, understand?" After saying this, the housekeeper looked at the old man with a little embarrassment at his serious look. He thought in his heart that if he did not satisfy the other party, then the other party might continue to do his own thing. Instead of this, it would be better to just treat it as meeting his request. So the remaining cars all followed behind the old man's car. However, Mr. Liu did not let others underestimate him. Because as soon as he got in the car, he stepped on the accelerator and kept racing. This was the first time he drove a car after he got old. Usually when he went out, he would let the person following him, or his butler, drive for him. It was impossible for him to make progress in driving by himself, but now this long-lost feeling, when it returned to his hands again, he felt very familiar. So much so that the butler's car behind was a little behind, and couldn't help but remind him, could it be that our old man has forgotten what he is going to do? The people who spoke smiled at each other, because they really felt that the old man seemed to be about to forget what he should do, which was to save his granddaughter. Instead of racing here, the key is the exit, and then tell these people, and then say, since the old man is so free, let him play with their car. Can't he take another avenue? Just keep up, and the old man's speed, we can get there as soon as possible. One thing that must be said is that Mr. Lu's car is too fast. On the main road, although it did not exceed the maximum speed, but it can still attract the attention of a large number of people. Especially now is the peak hour, so many people are very unconvinced. Watching a car pass by in front of him, they kept following behind him, so that the entire traffic began to become congested. But at the traffic light, the old man's car had to stop. He also enjoyed the thrill of racing. After stopping, he saw a car next to him, and then it drove in front of his car window. A head popped out from inside and said to him, "You guy, do you think it's fun to drive fast on the main road? Do you know how much time I wasted by blocking me just now? Otherwise, this traffic light can't control me at all." It turned out to be a young man who was yelling at him. But Mr. Lu didn't care. After all, his speeding mentality was originally opposed to young people. And on such a big road, no one could surpass him. This can only show that he is really great and his skills are still sharp. If the group of people he led didn't dare to surpass him, then there was no one on other roads who could surpass his speed and driving skills. This was what made him feel really happy. But he ignored others, and the driver on the opposite side of his car continued to curse at him. Under the last resort, Mr. Lu could only open his car window and show his head. And he said to the other party in a nonchalant manner, "You lost to me yourself, can you blame me for this? If your driving skills are really so good, then you have already passed the traffic light this morning, and there is no need to say so much nonsense in front of me." Even when he's old, Mr. Lu is very imposing, so his two sentences directly made the other party speechless. Soon, he found that the other party was not speechless because of what he said. It was because the other party showed a look of horror on his face, and then pointed at him. You are actually an old man. I thought you were a young man." The other party said this, obviously sighing. Mr. Lu is not only old, but also can drive so fast. He didn't have the slightest mentality of dissatisfaction. This made Mr. Dongnao even happier. If it weren't for the fact that his granddaughter was still kidnapped by others, he might want to drive here now. But he didn't forget what he should do, so he patted the young man on the shoulder and said to him earnestly, "Young man, you don't understand that the most important thing in racing is to have a heart. As long as the heart is there, whether you win or lose, you will be happy." Chapter 1396 Famous People. The other party touched his head. It seems that he can't understand it. But then, the old man gave him a lot of truth, and continued, "If you can't understand, it doesn't matter, but you must always remember the moral of our racing. You must not do it again next time. If others are because of you, you will cause trouble for them, understand?" I don't know why the other party looked like he was preaching to him. But to him, he felt that such words made a lot of sense, so until Mr. Lu left, the other party was still a little dazed. Until the car owner behind him was so impatient that he stretched his neck and yelled at his car, "You are crazy, you have already passed the traffic light, what are you still waiting for in front? If you don't want to leave, you can drive the car to the side and don't block our way." After hearing this, the young man put his head back into the car and drove forward, but as he walked, he was thinking about what the old man had just said to him, and he felt that it made a lot of sense. It would be great if he could see him again. In addition, he was very curious about the identity of Mr. Lu. He was able to drive so well at such an old age, so he must have been a very famous person when he was young. After having dinner with Zhang Yuxi at home, Lin Feng came to the study. Then after looking at the circle of icons on the computer, he couldn't help but doubt what happened today. In fact, he knew that Mr. Lu would definitely be angry because of what he did today. There are many things that he didn't tell him clearly. However, as long as he can help those who are in trouble, he can ignore many things and pretend that he didn't see them. Now let him think about where Mr. Lu and his men have gone. Basically, they should be able to catch Zhang Yuxi. If he can't even do this, then he may not really agree to the Lu family's cooperation with him. Lin Feng is still a very wise man. He knows how important such a misunderstanding is to Liu Jia and himself, and how important the Otaku is. He must seize this opportunity. He called another family, who happened to be the Wang family, which has always wanted to become one of the major families in the Magic City. Unexpectedly, the head of the Wang family was very excited to receive a call from Lin Feng. He said happily, "Mr. Lin, if you have any instructions, just tell me directly. I know that the Lu family has been close to you recently, but our Wang family is definitely not inferior to them. We still have a good chance to become one of the 4 major families." Lin Feng nodded, and then said to the person on the phone in a gentle voice, "Mr. Wang, what are you talking about? How can I treat you directly like a subordinate and assign tasks to you? We are going to discuss cooperation. It must be something that both parties are willing to do before we can do it. So can you tell me now, do you plan to cooperate with me?" In fact, Lin Feng himself didn't need to guess that the Wang family finally took the opportunity to contact Lin Feng this time, and they were eager to quickly establish business contacts with Lin Feng's company. Then they can come together to divide the market. However, Lin Feng did not immediately agree to the affairs of the Wang family's several major families. Lin Feng could ignore it, because he himself is in it, but there is one thing, that is, he feels that such a huge industry of the 4 major families is definitely not a second-rate family that can be compared casually. If a family business like the Wang family wants to achieve the scale of Lin Feng or the Lu family, which is slightly worse than himself, in a short period of time, then it will take at least 50 or 60 years. By then, it is still unknown whether the head of the family will still be in this world. Therefore, Lin Feng really will not have too many considerations and is willing to give the other party a chance. That is also because of some clues he provided to him. Lin Feng smiled slightly and said to the head of the Wang family very confidently, "The opportunity is only this time. If you can accept it, of course I am willing to provide you with a plan immediately. If you don't want to accept it, then we can discuss other projects later. After all, they are all people in the same circle, but of course they will not do things too extreme, and he is also an experienced person. It's just that the Wang family is still considering one thing, that is, the small actions they did before. I don't know if Lin Feng has noticed it. If he has noticed it, then maybe it's just a trap thrown by Lin Feng for them. If Lin Feng was completely unaware, then it might really be a goodwill." So the people of the Wang family still need to discuss it, and one of them responded to Lin Feng and said, "Mr. Lin, please give us another night, and someone will reply to you tomorrow morning." After hearing the voice of the head of the Wang family, Lin Feng immediately understood that the other party wanted to consider the specific details of the cooperation again. Of course, he would not refuse. After all, this is a matter between the 2 families. Of course, Lin Feng would not be so harsh, so he looked at the other party and said, "Okay, if you Wang family need to discuss, I can also give you half an hour. But after half an hour, if you haven't called me yet, then I will treat it as you giving up and cooperate with us." In fact, Lin Feng was also somewhat surprised. He originally thought that if a force like the Wang family could get his help, then they should be grateful. This is not Lin Feng's exaggeration. It is because in the entire Magic City, the companies that can cooperate with Lin Feng are all very respectful to Lin Feng, and only hostile companies dare to purchase some small tricks behind his back. Even in person, they had to be polite to Lin Feng, so as a second-rate family, the Wang family actually didn't seize the opportunity at such a moment, which made Lin Feng feel a little inappropriate. But maybe they had their own ideas, and they didn't force the other party to cooperate with him, so he spoke very tactfully. After hearing this, the people of the Wang family hurriedly nodded happily and said, "Okay, Mr. Lin, wait for us for half an hour. We will definitely get back to you." In the end, Lin Feng himself didn't believe that the other party had so many things to do. But since they had already said so, what else could he do? He could only hang up the phone. Chapter 1397 The Cunning Fox. On the other side, the executives of the Wang family saw all this inside. One of them said, "Otherwise, we should tell the truth to Mr. Lin. Anyway, he can decide for us." But another person from the Wang family said, "Why? Don't you think that it was us who wanted to cooperate with the media reporters in the first place? Now we turn around and tell Mr. Lin that we were part of the doubters in the first place. What do you think he will think?" Basically everyone sighed. Because they regretted it very much now, that is, they listened to the advice given to them by Lisa, a secretary besides Yang Kaishan. That is, when they found out about the press conference yesterday, they ran to Lin Feng's company. There were very big doubts about the new drug developed by Lin Feng. In that case, It would get more attention from the outside world, and it would also affect the sales of Lin Feng's drug in the whole long ago. But who would have thought that Lin Feng could resolve this matter and solve it? Before the person who really spread the rumor, the cameraman specially invited by the Wang family and the reporters also saw clearly the pressure Lin Feng faced and his calm explanation. And the changes in the bodies of the volunteers that he later mastered made everyone believe that this issue was a very good medicine made by Lin Feng, so it became popular all over the Magic City. He doesn't even have this name now, but he is still the first on the hot list. Just Lin Feng himself has brought it, but he didn't expect that he would go out because he bought a medicine, so that people who saw it could recognize him, but this medicine has been inspected. So the orders are increasing. It's just that no one can fully support him like the Lu family. If he meets this time, then Lin Feng will naturally cherish it. Even if it is normal, the Wang family has no such qualifications. But now, maybe the other party has the qualifications to change the fate of their entire family once. But if they don't run into it, then they can't blame Lin Feng. In fact, Lin Feng guessed correctly, the people of the Wang family do have a lot of unspeakable secrets. After hanging up the phone, as the head of the entire family, he said to everyone very unhappily, "You shouldn't have let so many reporters ask such questions. Now you know it's too much, think about what to do." The other Wang family disciples all shook their heads, lowered their heads, and didn't dare to look at the person sitting on the seat. Finally, one of them suggested, "Now that we have already offended Lin Feng at the previous press conference, now he didn't mention this matter, either because he knew about it, but still tolerated them, or there was another thing he didn't know. Now the entire Wang family is in a state of anxiety because of this matter. Especially the person in power thinks that all this is God's punishment for him." In the end, their eldest daughter stood up, just like how Lu Qingqing resisted her family before. The person in front of him. He also said to his family members, "Let's bet this time. If we lose, the worst that can happen is that we will be scolded by the two of them. If we miss this opportunity, it will be a lifelong regret." But the above hint was accepted by many people, who felt that what he said made sense. Everyone listened to the eldest lady's words and agreed with him. Many people chose to support the eldest lady of the Wang family and said to their head of the family, "Yes, head of the family, we all think that what you said is very reasonable. Why not cooperate with Lin Feng and the others? Anyway, we won't lose this time." Everyone thought so. Then the head of the family could only obey the will of others, nodded, turned around, and said to the person under his command, "Now you can call back and tell Mr. Lin that we are willing to cooperate with him." This person also obeyed the order and dialed the number on his mobile phone. After a while, Lin Feng's mobile phone rang, and he opened it to answer it. It happened to be someone from the Wang family who called, so he asked, "I guess you Wang family have already thought about it, do you want to cooperate with me?" Lin Feng's words were very direct, and the other party said without any ambiguity, "Yes, Mr. Lin, the head of our family has decided to cooperate with you. We will benefit from it, so we are willing to agree to all this. But for the specifics, can we come to discuss it face-to-face tomorrow?" Lin Feng nodded, and felt a little funny in his heart. I guess the Wang family must have decided this after experiencing everyone's suspicions. They actually told him that there was no harm, which was obviously a lie. But Lin Feng didn't care. Anyway, there was one more person to cooperate with him. What's more, there were still places on the website that he could use, so he simply agreed and said to the phone, "Okay, then you can come to my office tomorrow afternoon, and I will have someone receive you." Because he had to discuss business with the Lu family tomorrow morning, the matter of the Wang family could only be postponed until the afternoon. But Wang Jianai didn't care, but was very happy. Because it was a great thing for them to be able to climb up to Lin Feng this time. Everyone was very happy. Of course, more people were grateful to the eldest lady of the Wang family. If it weren't for his timely judgment, it would be very likely that the Wang family would lose such a good backer and partner. Even the head of the Wang family said to his granddaughter with great satisfaction, "Not bad, Zhang Yuxi, you can go with me tomorrow. After you go, you can just see this young and promising Mr. Lin." After hearing what her grandfather said, Wang Zhu nodded and smiled very happily. The smile was very sweet. This was the first time everyone saw him smile so beautifully. Because usually he always looked high and mighty, and at this moment he was so happy because he heard that he was going to meet Lin Feng. It made people think of a possibility. Many people turned their eyes to the head of the Wang family, as if they wanted to make a decision for him. However, the head of the Wang family also knew what these people were thinking, and he still had to respect his granddaughter. What's more, if he remembered correctly, Mr. Lin actually had a girlfriend. If he sent his granddaughter over, it might not be accepted by her. So he shook his head temporarily. The people around him were all shrewd old foxes, so when they saw him like this, they immediately understood what he meant. So everyone understood and didn't say anything more. But there was still one person who was still dreaming, and that person was of course Wang Zhu. He felt that he was going to meet the person he liked tomorrow, and he was so happy. When he was in school before, he really wanted to snatch Lin Feng from Zhang Yuxi. This time, there happened to be such an opportunity, and he couldn't wait. Chapter 1398. Do you think I am a fool? On the other side, Lin Feng didn't expect that there was another person plotting against him. He sneezed, then wiped it with a tissue, and said in a strange voice, "It's not cold in this weather. Is someone saying bad things about me behind my back?" After throwing away the tissue, he shook his head and sat down. He continued to browse the documents in his company. After a while, it was already evening. Zhang Yuxi came in with a glass of milk from outside, gently placed it on his desk, put her hand on his temple, rubbed it, and said to him, "It's late, drink a glass of milk, and then go to bed." After being taken care of by Zhang Yuxi, Lin Feng also smiled gently and dotingly, took her hand and kissed it, and then said, "Do you really want us to sleep together?" Zhang Yuxi blushed and hid him with her hand. "I'm serious. If you don't sleep, there will be an event in the school tomorrow. How can you participate?" After hearing this, Lin Feng said indifferently, "Isn't it just an event in the school? What's there to participate in? Why don't we just take a day off? Isn't it better?" All along, Lin Feng didn't have much idea about the things in the school, so the activities had nothing to do with him. On the other side, Mr. Lu had already driven to the latest place shown on the map, which was outside the villa where Zhang Yuxi was staying. Mr. Lu got off the car very gloriously. Because this was the most glorious time for him in the past 10 years, it was of course much faster than when he was young. However, for him in his old age, it was already more colorful, so he was very excited when he just got off the car, so much so that he missed a step. With a plop, he almost fell to the ground, and then the housekeeper behind him almost pounced on him and made him fall on him. He was pressed to the ground and fell flat on his face, so he just kept silent. Mr. Lu turned from his body and said to him in surprise, "Hey, get up quickly, why did you stand in front of me just now?" After hearing Mr. Lu's somewhat ashamed words, he laughed, then stood up and clapped his hands. He smiled and said to him, "Grandpa, my mission is to protect you, and then the entire Lu family, so you don't have to apologize to me. If you failed just now, then all of us today will apologize to you. After all, it is a rule, so everyone can't forget it." After he finished speaking, Mr. Lu nodded and said to him in a very exaggerated manner, Okay, you are worthy of being my good assistant. I will give you another month's salary today as a bonus." This amount of money is nothing to many Lu family members, but if he fell, then this amount of money would not be enough for him to recover from his illness, so the housekeeper was very happy. Although the money for this month was only a few 100,000, it made him feel very happy. He nodded and thanked his master. "Thank you, old man. This is what I should have done." The old man was very happy and didn't bother with him. Then his face immediately became serious. He ordered everyone, "All of you surround him. I must rescue my granddaughter with my own hands." "Yes, old man, we will surround all the exits around now and never let anyone out." Everyone started to act. They were all looking forward to Mr. Lu giving Zhang Yuxi a severe lesson after entering. Because this guy has done a lot of bad things, interfering with the interests between the two groups, so this time he must not be merciful. However, before Mr. Lu and his team went in, some people had already arrived here, and they were very clear about this. So even if all the exits around were surrounded, if you go in. He also wanted someone to accompany him in. As soon as he walked in, he heard a very fierce quarrel inside. "What do you want to do by bringing people to this place?" Another woman's voice said sarcastically, "Of course it's to take revenge on you, don't you know? This guy is the granddaughter of Mr. Lu. If you hurt him, then you can imagine that your chances of going abroad will be getting lower and lower." The person who spoke happened to be Lisa, who had broken off relations with Zhang Yuxi before. The two of them were really against each other. However, What made Zhang Yuxi even more angry was that this guy was still haunting him. If he wanted money, he could give it. But Lisa didn't even want money, which made him feel very headache. I said, if I want to go against you, then you can't escape. Now you should know it, right? Zhang Yuxi really couldn't get rid of Lisa's persistence no matter what he did. So he said to the detective next to Lisa, I know you are Lin Feng's subordinate, but you are fooling around alone. Have you ever thought about whether your master would agree with your actions if he knew about this? He wants to deal with you, but he didn't say he would stop me from going abroad. The detective also sneered at him like, Lisa, do you really think I'm a fool? My master doesn't want you to go abroad, isn't that normal? I just helped him complete this task in advance. As for whether you can escape today, it depends on whether I can let you go. Zhang Yuxi is a young master who grew up in luxury and didn't know any martial arts at all, but the detective in front of him was different. You know, the conditions for them to be detectives are very harsh. Not only does he have a quick mind, but his skills are also much better than ordinary people. Although he is not as good as the special forces in the world, he is hundreds of times stronger than ordinary people. He rushed over and wanted to catch Zhang Yuxi. When he heard the three people arguing inside, Mr. Liu suddenly called out to his men, and then whispered to them, if there are two groups of people confronting each other inside, then we should go in later. In this way, we can catch them off guard. If we go in now, it might be bad if one of them escapes. Chapter 1399 The Biggest Enemy. With so many people, they should not let anyone escape if they go in. But just in case. In addition, his granddaughter is inside. At worst, he can wait for them to fight each other until they are both injured, and then he can go in. In this way, Zhang Yuxi may not even be able to hold his granddaughter hostage. His subordinates also agreed with his point of view very much, and gave him a thumbs up and said, Grandpa, you are really good. Your granddaughter inside is just in the hands of others, and you are not worried. The person who spoke was naturally not Grandpa Liu, but Lin Feng accompanied his subordinates. This group of people originally wanted to protect Grandpa Liu. Unexpectedly, they met their biggest enemy inside, that is, Zhang Yuxi. So if they go in now, it will be easier to make mistakes. However, Grandpa Liu has already said so, they have to give him face, as they are already cooperating with their boss. If they don't give face, then who knows whether the cooperation between the Liu and Lin families will be solid? The leader was not a fool, so when he heard that the old man was not going to let them go in first, he temporarily gave up the plan. But after listening for a while, they found that there was no sound of beating inside, but negotiation. After all, Zhang Yuxi is a businessman, and he can confront the situation in front of him. He also knows his own weight. Since he can't win, then he will naturally sit up and negotiate the terms. He said to the detective who was about to take action, your boss, don't you want to tie me up and take me back? No problem, I can go back with you after I finish the things in my hands. But the detective obviously didn't believe him. So he said to him in a very arrogant way, no, you are going back with me now, there is nothing to discuss. If you don't go with me, then I will take you away by force. You must choose one of these two roads. The final result is to go with me, so I advise you to accept your fate. Zhang Yuxi had a hint of sarcasm in his eyes. He is not the kind of person who will accept his fate. And since he knew that the driver who had come to him before said that his father had not given up on him, he had already decided to find his father in the country and then leave together. He was not such an unfilial person, so he wanted to owe his father an apology and had to say it. So it was good that he couldn't leave at this time, but just now he had asked a driver who had come to him before to go to the basement to get a few very important things. He should have come up now, hiding in the dark waiting for this guy to do something to him, so Zhang Yuxi had to think about how to play this scene. He said to the person in front of him with a fake smile, you can take me away by force, but I can continue to play tricks in the car, or let you go back on this trip. Believe it or not. The detective hesitated for a moment. After all, Zhang Yuxi was here. He was also very clear that if he was deadlocked with him here, who knew that he had not arranged other people to suggest? If he didn't see anyone, would he come to this villa to find someone, so he couldn't care so much now? He went forward and tried to grab Zhang Yuxi and run with him. Unexpectedly, Zhang Yuxi did not resist. When he reached the stairs in the basement, Zhang Yuxi suddenly stopped. At this moment, the driver who was hiding beside the stairs raised a big stick. With a snap, he hit the head of the detective who was holding Zhang Yuxi and was about to leave. With a thud, the detective finally fell to the ground. Lisa next to him screamed in fear. He did not expect that there was someone hiding in the dark. When did he appear? He looked at Zhang Yuxi with some anger, and then said, "I will kill you." His eyes became very cold. He held a knife in his hand and stabbed directly. It turned out that when he ran over just now, he picked up a fruit knife on the table. While stabbing Zhang Yuxi with a knife, he said fiercely, "If it were not for you, I would not have ended up like this. I must kill you, even if I have to go to jail later." Really a crazy woman. Zhang Yuxi hurriedly backed away. He didn't want to be cut by the other party with a knife, whether it was his arm, face or other places. Because this guy was really not big when he started to fight. Lisa's disorderly and continuous knife attack gave Zhang Yuxi a headache. The driver behind him quickly followed, pushed the woman away, and said to him angrily, "You crazy woman, get out of here quickly. If it weren't for you following our family for a while, I would have crippled you now." When Lisa was pushed to the floor, her eyes looked at the two people very viciously. They were simply birds of a feather. Zhang Yuxi frowned. He was thinking about whether to tie this woman up right here, so that he wouldn't have to catch up with him later. At this time, Lisa, who always knew him very well, stood up immediately and turned around and ran. He knew that if he didn't leave, he would most likely be caught, but when he ran, he took another look at Wang Xiaoyu who fell down at the door. Of course. He didn't care about anything else. He left immediately. What did Wang Xiaoyu's life or death have to do with him? Zhang Yuxi breathed a sigh of relief after seeing him leave. Then he praised the driver next to him very happily and said, "If it wasn't for you just now, that crazy woman would definitely have stabbed me. Alice, thanks to you." The driver looked flattered and said to him, "Master, this is what I should do to protect you. How can I think this is a credit? If it weren't for your father asking me to protect you before, I wouldn't have approached you. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, I won't let you be hurt by anyone." Until now. The driver and Zhang Yuxi thought that the villa they were in was safe, but Lisa, who had just run out crazy, saw a row of people standing outside, and they were people she knew. She was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 1400 Show me some color. Lisa looked at Mr. Lu and other people in front of him at a loss, and then he wanted to run away in a panic. But someone next to Mr. Lu immediately caught him and brought him back. Mr. Lu stood in front of him and asked with a very serious look, "Do you know what's going on inside?" It looked like Mr. Lu didn't really want to teach him a lesson, but was more concerned about the people inside. Oh, he just remembered, isn't there another young lady of the Lu family inside? He didn't take her with him when he left just now. If he had taken her with him, maybe he could monitor her and suffer now. Unfortunately, since the other party has already tracked down this place, there is no need for him to lie anymore, and he told the truth. The situation inside is very bad. Just now I finally escaped from that guy's hands. Your granddaughter is still in a coma. Who knows if they will take your granddaughter as a hostage? It's no use for you to wait here now. Unexpectedly, he would say such harsh words, and the person next to him wanted to teach him a lesson, but Mr. Lu took the initiative to let the other party not do this too much, and then said, "It doesn't matter, since they have captured my granddaughter, I will see what conditions they will propose at that time." Thanks to Lisa in front of him who tipped him off and explained the situation at that time, otherwise he might have to wait outside for a while. Now there is no need, he directly said to the person next to him, "You hide first, and then let that guy think that I am the only one here, so that he will not have any defense." This is very reasonable. So the group of people coming from Lin Feng immediately hid behind the villa. They had actually discovered before that there were no surveillance cameras around the villa. Probably because they had not lived here for a long time, Zhang Yuxi had not installed surveillance cameras. If they wanted to disguise themselves, it would be easy to do. In this way, the dozens of people who had come here all hid behind the villa, and there was no way for Zhang Yuxi to see them all at once. The old man of the Lu family said to Lisa, "Okay, you continue to lead the way now, I want to continue looking for my granddaughter." After saying this, Lisa gritted her teeth and couldn't help but curse in her heart. This old guy wanted to go in by himself, but why did he take himself with him? He could obviously escape. But there were so many people around, he believed that if he dared to run, he would definitely not be able to outrun the others. In desperation, he had to follow Mr. Lu in. Naturally, the other party had no prediction of Lisa who had returned. At this time, the two people in the villa were preparing what they needed and taking them away. because they decided not to stay in this villa tonight. Otherwise, they were afraid that someone would chase them here. But Zhang Yuxi really didn't expect that Lisa, who had just walked out, would come back at this time, and he immediately said to them after he came in, "You must not have thought that I would definitely come back now." After saying this, Zhang Yuxi and the driver stopped moving. They asked Lisa with some doubts, "Why did you come back? Don't you have any other purpose?" Of course, Lisa would not say what she was doing. Looking back, the person hiding behind him was Mr. Lu, and then he walked towards Lu Qingqing, who was closest to him, step by step. But at this time, the driver came up with a quick hand and eyes, and pushed him away, as if he wanted to keep him away from Lu Qingqing. As expected, he had been lying in ambush beside Lin Feng for so long, so he was very powerful at this time. This guy's purpose of coming back must be not pure, so he pulled Lu Qingqing over and said to Lisa, "What do you want to do? What do you think of this woman?" After his thoughts were discovered, he said to them nervously, "How could I have any other ideas? I just want to wake this person up. If he doesn't wake up, it will be of no benefit to you. And I have another way to lure you away, that is to use this guy." Regardless of whether these people believe what he said, he must say it, because right behind him, Mr. Lu is staring at him. If he doesn't make his words clear, he will definitely be severely punished by the other party as soon as he turns around. So after he said this, as a very cautious person, the driver didn't believe it. Squinting his eyes, he said to him, "If you say so, you must have evidence. Then tell me, how do you think we can start?" Looking at him, he still looked worried. Lisa smiled reluctantly and said, "That's easy. As long as we can take him out, then we will have a bargaining chip against the family that rushed over. They will not ignore the life and death of this young lady." Zhang Yuxi nodded after hearing this. He felt that what the other party said was indeed true. After all, he had regarded Lu Qingqing as his friend from the beginning, and now he felt that he could use her, which was already very good. But there was a doubt. The two of them actually looked at each other, and then turned their eyes to look at Lisa, who was talking, and then asked doubtfully, "But why do you know that Lu Qingqing is very useful to us? If it weren't for someone coming from his family, then he wouldn't be able to play a big role here, don't you think?" After hearing this, Lisa was speechless for a moment, until the driver came towards him with a stick, saying as he walked, "Tell me, what is the reason for you to come back?" Lisa's body was shaking constantly, because he felt that the other party was getting closer and closer to him. If the other party turned around, he would definitely knock him out. If he wanted to leave, it would be even more difficult. So he said, "Aren't you guys coming in yet? How long do you want me to block you in front of you?" After saying this, Zhang Yuxi followed the driver, and both of them were stunned. Because they didn't expect Lisa to say such a thing. After that, they saw that someone really came in from the back. No, not one person, but two people continued to join. Until 10 people came in at once from the outside of the door and surrounded them all. At this time, Zhang Yuxi followed the driver, and the expressions of the two people became solemn. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.